There we go. All right. We are live with Josefina from Fina Reads, probably the most mispronounced book channel on the planet before they actually get to know her. I'm sure everybody hops on and says, "Ooh, Fine Reads." I'm going to have somebody, they're going to be in front of a hearth and a leather chair, drinking some Chardonnay, wearing a wedding dress. No, I'm just kidding. Uh,
Where's the wedding dress coming from?
I meant to say evening gown and my brain went elsewhere. I don't know. But, everybody, I'm sure they look at it and they think Fine Reads, and then they actually hear you talking, and it's like it's Fina Reads. We all know it's Fina Reads. So I'm going to ask you the question I start out everybody with these days, and we're going to find out what your super villain origin story is, which means what made you look at all of this chaos and decide I want to be a booktuber too?
It's my husband's fault. I have started reading again. I mean, I've read all my life, but I had like a weird break in between at one point. And I started reading again, I don't know, 6, 7 years ago or something. And every time the book was done, it's like, oh my God, this was amazing, and blah, 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 blah. And my husband, he's a super amazing guy. But he, at one point, I saw it kind of in the side eye. He's like, oh, can she stop talking about books eventually? So, then I thought maybe out there is someone that is interested in hearing what I'm thinking about all of these books. And that's kind of how it started. So, yeah.
Let's face it, you're not alone. I'm pretty sure that's like John Mitten's background story too. He's like the wife and son get tired of listening to him. He's like, we're gonna give you a channel. You go do your thing. Leave us alone.
Funny that they are now on the channel with him. And
True.
now
True.
talk
Well,
with
Jacob
him.
more than Amy, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I think my thing too is, well, I'm an extrovert. Let's face it. I don't think there's any question about that.
No.
And I really just wanted to talk to authors, and my wife has no interest in that whatsoever. She's like, I want to read their books. I don't need to meet them. So
Fair.
it's what happens.
Yeah.
But other question I got for a lot of booktubers, I feel like, and maybe it's just the corner of, I mean, there's a corner of YouTube that is booktube, and then there's a corner of booktube that I feel like is kind of that SFF horror. It's like a subsection, which I feel like is one of the ones that you're in. Maybe you're a little more expanded than that. But what brought you into this crazy corner over here with the rest of us?
Because that's what I've always been reading. SFF in particular. Horror is, I'm relatively new still to horror. I mean, if you like King outside of King, I haven't read much horror. It's getting more, but yeah, anyway. But yeah, sci-fi fantasy was always my genre. But then I've read everything. So I also love thrillers. I love romance. Not so big in literary fiction, really, but if it's a book and if it's a story that sounds interesting, that I could see myself reading, I read it. I don't care about the genre, really. But yeah, I'd say like 80% of what I'm reading is fantasy and sci-fi, I'd say. So, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much the same. I'm getting back into horror. I was big into horror in like the late 80s, early 90s. I might be a little older than you. But yeah,
I
it's
look very young.
okay.
I'm not that
I
young.
look very old, so it works out. I remember in my 30s, some guys like, you remind me of Eric Clapton. I'm like, he's in his 60s. Thanks. Anyhow. But yeah, I digress. So another place, anybody who doesn't know, Fina and I are both in a book or in a Discord called Booktubers Unite. Shout out. I don't know if Ted's going to see this. Ted Red instead started that. But it's one of the first things where I feel like, I mean, obviously, if anybody asked me for advice, I'd give it to them. Sometimes I'd go to people looking for advice. But that Discord and the community that they have as booktubers was the first place I really felt like we all got together. And it's like, I've got some knowledge, you've got some knowledge. Let's just all get together and raise each other up. And
That's a good song. I got knowledge, you got knowledge. Sorry.
We'll be pressing. We'll put in the single out on Thursday. No, but
Oh,
no, I
man.
feel like the booktube community. This is one of the places that I love about it. I love having you on here. I
Yeah.
love having Josh from Already Overbooked is in there. Another guy that we like to hang out with. But I feel like I almost spend more time in there than I do elsewhere because I just love picking the brains of other people who are doing. We're on the same journey. We may be
Yeah,
in different places, but even though there's so many parts of BookTube. When I started, I mean, when I started on YouTube, I didn't even know BookTube was a thing.
fair.
How did you find your niche? Because I mean, there's booktubers like me. I focused on just authors. There's ones that basically just do book reviews. There's some that just basically do collabs and stuff or top 10 lists. How do you decide what you want to do?
Whoa. Hey, Mark. Um, that's a good question. Honestly, it's a mix of things. So I always try to have a plan that sometimes work and it doesn't. So some videos are just, whatever tickles my fancy, as they say. Like that's what I'm doing. Um, like the long walk video that I did earlier this week, I believe last week, earlier this week. My goodness, time flies. I don't even know how time works anymore. Not too long ago. How about that? That was like a last minute thing because I watched the movie and then I started talking about it, and my husband had that moment of like, "Oh, that's what you have your channel for. Like, just do a video about it." I was like, "Okay, cool." But sometimes I try to plan something. So, um, in general, I think it's for me really mostly an outlet to just talk about the books that I've read. And since I tend to read books that are not the most hyped ones, then gush about them and get other people excited about them. So I've been doing a lot for like Green Rider is one of the big series for me that has been on the channel from the beginning. I've kept talking about it. I've done read-alongs for that series. We're just in the middle of another read-along because book 8 is coming out on Tuesday. By the way, just shameless plug here. I got an early copy. Anyway, so that kind of got a thing, and then there were other books that I loved as much that I didn't see as much on BookTube, so I started talking about those, and then it became a whole thing. And then it kind of went into indie. So I read a lot of indie. I like to do interviews with indie authors, and the majority of interviews that I've done on my channel are with indie authors. Kate Elliott being the one exception of a published author. She's amazing too. Oh my goodness. I know you have an interview with her too soon, right? Like November. Yeah.
Yep, it's
I'm
coming up.
excited.
In fact, we
Yeah.
were just emailing today to figure out what day and time.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, oh yeah, right. Her second book is coming out in her duology, right? In November. Yep,
Which
yep,
I
yep.
think you already read, you
Oh
stinker, haven't you?
so good. Yes, I read it already. I finished it also not too long ago. Again, time. I don't know how that functions. But yeah, that was really good. Anyway, I'm scrolling. It's Friday. I can scroll around, right? Like that's how my brain works.
That's what
And
this
that's how
is
my
for.
videos work. So there's your quick answer.
My author interviews are to talk to authors, and we have questions, and we have a place to go, and we're going to follow, certain things, unless it's John Scalzi because he can't stand topic, which is bad because I can't stand topic either. But the booktubers, this is the one where this is just for fun. We can just chat back and forth. I'm fine with it. You answer whatever you want to answer. That's what we're here for.
Well, let's see where we get with that then.
No, but I have to say, I love it. There's again, I mean, because I started out when I first started this channel, I was working, or I either was still working. I think I was still working at a bookstore. So I came very much from traditional publishing. That's
Yeah.
the authors I had were the ones that I knew, being those are the ones you see in a bookstore, which is not always the indies. And I mean, you had that the video today about your favorite indie sci-fi fantasy books and stuff like that. And those are all ones I've discovered from channels like yours and a lot of the other booktube channels that really give the indies a place. And I'll tell you right now, three of my favorite books of the year, indie or not, were Cold Silver for Souls by Tori Tekken. It
Mhm.
was The Way of a Dan by Philip Chase, which I just finished, and it was The Price of Power by Michael Michelle. Every single one of those is an indie author, and they are not just as good as the traditional published. Some of them are even a little bit better.
Not just a little bit in some cases. Like indie for me is indie for me is also something that I found through BookTube. Like I had no idea before then, right? Before I watched like Andrew and like all these people out there that talk a lot about indie. I mean, you kind of have an idea because you see it on Amazon when you scroll around, right? But not really. It's kind of this far away thing that you don't really know anything about, and it's kind of obscure. But the moment you hit BookTube, like all of a sudden, it's this big new world. And yeah, like indie is I tend to read indie more than trade published now because there's so much good stuff out there, and at least the books that we see, generally on BookTube are fantastic books. I don't remember having like really crappy books that I read that were indie published. So it's a huge quality out there. That I know this is kind of like this what's the word for that? This preset notion. There's a word for that I'm blanking on right now. That people think indie means it's bad, but it really isn't. And this has become so clear for me in the last years that it, like, similar to you, some of my favorite books are indie books, like Green Rider Outside, but like Gunmetal Gods is indie, Salt in the Wound is indie, and there are many more like that. And it's just, yeah, like that's something that with BookTube, for me at least, since joining BookTube was like the biggest thing that I got out of that. Outside of, of course, community, right? That's always the part with no matter what YouTube channel you're on, you get to meet people, like-minded people that you can talk about books, blah, 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 blah. But outside of that, it's the indie books and the realization of these are amazing and there's so much good stuff out there that doesn't require a trade publisher to be seen in the world. So yeah.
Yeah. Part of my can't think of the word I'm looking for, but why I push some of the indie books is because some of these authors are so good. I want more people to see them because I need them to write more books. So this needs to be a viable option for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think preconceived might have been the word you were looking for. I could be wrong.
We'll understand each other. It's all good.
It's all right. I'm going to let Mark's got a good question here. I'm going to let you go first because I know my answer, and my answer is boring. Go for it.
Honestly, I don't even remember anymore how I started out. I can tell you now, I don't really have, I'm winging it most of the time, to be very honest. I know I'm doing a video a week at least. Sometimes it's two, sometimes most of the time it's one video a week. And I do what I want. Like there are a few things that, like your monthly wrap up or like my BookTube recommends, which is the video that came out today. Those I try to do like every so often, like every other month at least, some author interviews. But other than that, whatever I see that I find interesting, or like if there's a big release coming out that I know I want to talk about, book reviews. Whenever I write the book, then I do there's no real plan. I mean, I have goals, right, for my channel, and I probably need a better plan to reach those goals eventually. That's kind of how this works. But at the end of the day, it's for me, it's an outlet to talk about the books, like to get all this, pent up out somewhere, and to learn the tools while doing it. Like I love playing around with editing. I love playing around with my camera and seeing, okay, does this work? What happens if I put the light over there versus over there? What new fancy things does Canva have that I can add for my video stuff? Can I put here a fancy animation on the video while editing? Like that's the kind of stuff that I actually really enjoy about it, behind the scenes, essentially.
Yeah, I don't know how much time I spent on Canva, but I do know I've spent a few dollars at Motion VFX getting their plugins for the DaVinci Resolve stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes. So.
Yeah.
And my story is probably a lot more boring. 2021, I had been working at a bookstore for a while. I'd started doing a gaming channel over on Twitch. Wasn't really going anywhere. A few people watched me, but it was no big deal. And then 2022 came around. We'd been like 2 years into COVID. I worked at the local bookstore in Omaha called the Bookworm, which is where if somebody came to Omaha, they went there. Stephen King was there. Cassandra Clare was there. John Grisham's been to Omaha.
Oh, wow.
And, a lot of these, it dried up with COVID. We're starting to get back to it, but nobody was doing author events at all. And I'm just like, you know what? Let me reach out. I would love to talk to some of these authors. I knew one author that I thought for sure would do an interview with me. I'd actually tried to get them to do a book club at first, and they're like, "No, authors don't want homework. We're not doing a book club." So I thought, it's
Fair.
like, no, I know he's probably going to say yes. Let me reach out to a few other authors, and if I get some more people on, then I'll ask him. And Jen Lyons was one of the first ones. She said yes right away. Sean and McGuire, time wise, ended up being my first one. And then I'm like, okay, so a couple of people said yes. I need to make this a thing, and that's all I was doing at the beginning. Live stream interviews on Twitch, and because Twitch deletes your videos on demand after 60 days, because they're not a video on demand platform. They're a
Yeah.
live stream platform.
Yeah.
I threw them up on YouTube and paid them no attention. I was like, if somebody wants to see them later, they'll see them later. And after about a year and a half of that, I finally started looking around on YouTube, and I discovered BookTube. And I thought, you know what? Maybe I need to pay more attention to YouTube and less attention to Twitch. Because Twitch I am monetized on, but I'm not making a ton of money over on Twitch.
Mhm.
So came over here, and again, more people know YouTube. Twitch is probably not 99%, but it's probably 90% gamers
Yeah.
with some musicians thrown in.
Oh, I
It's
didn't
really
even know
not.
that Twitch for me is gaming. Yeah,
Yeah,
completely.
there's not a big book Twitch.
Yeah, sounds a
That's
bit
not what they
funky.
do.
Yeah.
But I started doing over here, and I'm like you. I do what I want to do. I know that top 10 videos do really well. I still haven't done a top 10 video, and I'm almost done with 4 years on YouTube. Just because I really don't want to rank 10 books and decide who gets cut off and and who's just slightly above the other book.
You
Uh,
know what's interesting? So
yeah,
I did a top 10 video also not too long ago. That's kind of my general time. Like
mm,
we were just rolling with this for this video. um, it has been like a year or so. And it's actually not doing that well because I don't that's my assumption at least, because I'm
mm.
not having things like Game of Thrones or Tolkien in my top 10 list. I've read those books. They're great, don't get me wrong, but they're not my top 10. So mine is not doing that great.
Well, I think it's also depends on where you're at, because for me, some of my better videos are actually book reviews. Not all of them, but I also understand if you're a bigger booktuber like Mike's book reviews, and he
Yeah,
jokes about the fact that he doesn't really review books anymore much, even though it's in the title. Uh, but for him and his audience, those don't do as well.
yeah.
For I think people like you and like book reviews are what I call SEO type stuff. Um,
It
I
depends
don't
on
think
the book.
anybody is
Yes.
specifically Googling Griftkin or Fina Reads because they
Yeah.
want to find out about a specific book.
Yeah, yeah.
But they'll Google something like, I did a video on the Courting of Bristol Keats. I got to read it early. I got the arc, so there wasn't hardly anything on it. So people looking for the Courting of Bristol Keats found my video,
Yeah,
and it did better than a lot of my other videos do,
yeah.
especially like my weekly wrap ups and stuff. So I feel like I do weekly. I don't know about you, and I'll get to Mark's other question in a second. I feel like I did weekly wrap ups just for something to fill in, because when I was just doing author interviews, especially my first 2 or 3 years, it was okay. I dropped 2 videos and then maybe go a month or two with nothing. And you don't get an audience like that. You don't get a community like that
Very
because I
hard.
never
Yeah,
knew when I was going to drop something.
yeah,
Now, this year, doing sometimes 3 author interviews a month, I could probably get away with it. But my first couple of years, I tell everybody all the time, I had 13 subscribers after 18 months. And yes, I had Shauna McGuire and Martha Wells and Jim Butcher interviews out there, but you never knew when the next one was going to drop.
yeah.
So people didn't subscribe.
And the thing that is probably also hard if you do something like this is people come for that one author that they like, and then they don't necessarily watch the other author interviews of authors they either don't know or don't care about. I could
Yeah.
see that being something stopping someone from subscribing then in that sense, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because even in sci-fi fantasy, like a Jim Butcher fan might not be a V. Schwab fan, might not be a
Yeah.
Martha Wells fan.
Yeah. Yeah, fair.
All right. Mark's got another good question for you. And again, I'm going to let You're the guest. I'm going to let you answer this one first.
Very. Oh my God. I was a wreck. So my thing is I always worry that I say something awkward, you know, like I always overthink things and I never rewatch stuff because I will hear something that is totally normal. No one ever heard it, but I will sit there and it's like, oh, what did you say there? This is really funky what you did just there. And I'm still nervous. So I'm in general a person who is nervous. Like I do webinars for work a lot too, or I did public speaking for an old job. And with author interviews, the same thing. I'm still nervous, even though I've done a lot of those things in the past. But it shows me one that I'm passionate about it. In my head, if I'm not nervous, then I don't care about what it is that I'm doing. Um, but I'm less kind of freaking out about things, if that makes sense. So I'm not too worried anymore about saying weird shit. Like it is what it is. Like, come on, there are worse people out there that say way more awkward things than I do. Like I'm probably totally fine. But yeah, I completely over prepared with my first interview. I wrote down so many questions. I restructured them. I did a shit ton of research on the author. I sent them like a whole thing up front and like completely overwhelmed them. And and then I recorded it with Microsoft Teams, and I didn't know that Microsoft Teams switches the window depending on who speaks. So my very first author interview, which is Allegra Pescatora. Oh, and then I forgot to ask her how to pronounce her name. So I was in the live asking her how I pronounce her name. It was great. And then after I watched the video, I saw that it kept switching the speaker and like the window that you see with the two speakers. It was a disaster. And then I didn't do one for a long, long time because I thought I'm just bad at it. And then I had another interview, like then, I think also they started maybe last year with actually doing more interviews and more on a more regular basis. And still I over prepared. I sat down and I wrote down all these questions and sent them all the stuff, but that went better. And then with every interview I got a little less paranoid up front, and I was like, I know my stuff. I've read the book, I've read whatever from them, I know these authors because I read their books and I looked them up before, so I don't need to over prepare myself. And it has mellowed out now. I'm still nervous, obviously, because it's people you don't know, right? Like I'm actually an introvert person. I'm actually a really shy person. Which I don't know if anybody realizes that the way I talk, but it's a thing. Yeah, and I'm still nervous, like getting to know them. But the first 10 minutes or 5 or 10 minutes that you prepare before the interview, because you meet them like behind the StreamYard scenes, it's you talk five minutes and it's fine. Afterwards, it's fine, and then usually the life is fine. And yeah, my goodness, I'm making long answers today. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Edward.
Again, you are the guest. You are allowed to. I quote the viewer who posted, and this is when I started changing some of how I did author interviews. I had a viewer that watched the Martha Wells interview and responded, "Not a polished interviewer. I wanted more Martha and less Griftkin." But again, when I started, I didn't even call them interviews. They were just chats. It was a back and forth. It was a conversation. And, I could have gotten offended by that, but I realized, what? It doesn't matter that I didn't see this as an interview. People on the internet thought this was an interview. And so I changed it up to give them more of what they wanted.
Yeah.
So that's fine. I will say, I don't know if I was super nervous talking to my first interview. My first interview with Shauna McGuire. Occasionally I'll get I was too new to realize I was supposed to be, supposed to be nervous. But every once in a while I'll hit like a certain author, and not to put any other authors under the bus, but there's certain authors that, I tried to get on for a long time. When I had Jim Butcher on, I was a little bit nervous. When I had V. Schwab on, I was a little bit nervous. My biggest nervous thing, and you got to remember, I started doing this on Twitch. Yeah, I was doing live streams. My biggest worry, especially if they were running a little bit late, is that they forgot about it. and I've got a live stream scheduled, and I'm sitting there going, what am I going to do? Because you don't want to tell people, it's like, hey, so and so is going to be on at 7 on Friday, and 7 on Friday, there's nothing going on because I'm still waiting for somebody to show up.
New fear unlocked. Oh my goodness. I didn't even think about
Well, to be fair, it's not as bad as it used to be. In 22, when I was doing this, there wasn't a lot of people doing live streams with authors. Most of your indies are used to this and doing the live streams.
Yeah.
So they know, like you showed up a little early, make sure everything's working. I think there was a lot of authors that even though I told them it was a live stream on Twitch, that didn't click. And they were thinking, okay, he said 7. I'll be there on 7. We'll record a video.
Yeah.
Like, no, we're not recording. We are live streaming. And so you get there and it's like 7:01, 7:02. It's like, I've got an email, especially early on, sometimes for the publicist, not for the author themselves. Uh, there's very few authors I can text. I don't have a lot of their phone numbers. It's like I'm just gotta hope that they show up. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Although I want to apologize once again because I did this to Paul Jessup once. He was on time and I'd sent him the link for the wrong. Because I use StreamYard, and so you create those links early, and I'd sent him the wrong link. He was waiting in the wrong studio, but that was on me.
Which live stream would he have joined otherwise?
Well, it was just another one that I had scheduled, and so I'd clicked on the wrong one and sent him that link. So it was just another one that was scheduled to be done later.
Yeah, that would have been hilarious if he would have kept it then and then showed up to that other live stream, be like, hello. It's like,
still here, it's all fine. We got another good question coming in. One of these days I'm gonna have to ask, I'm assuming I think I actually asked her once. Is it Kai? I think it's Kai. But doobie author who's super nervous at the mere thought of being interviewed. What you got? Anything?
I actually had an author where my interview was their first interview ever, and I didn't know that up front. And it still went fine. So Kai, okay, cool. I mean, a good question. I'm obviously not on the author side, but in that case, the author told me afterwards, it's like, hey, that was my first interview. And, I haven't done that before. And it's like, oh, but that was really cool. Like they knew the answers to all the questions and they knew how to, AKA like describe your book, right? Tell us about your writing story, like the typical things. I think it's just at least for like people like us, right? We just want to get to know you and understand where you get your inspiration from and like what drove you to write the book and how is your writing experience. Like for me, I'm always interested in the craft itself. Like, do you sit down in the morning at 6 a.m. with a coffee and start writing? Or is it like a whenever inspiration hits kind of stuff? And it's really just a loose conversation. It's not like a job interview or anything where you're like, oh God, everything is going to fall apart. But having said that, because, shy people is totally normal and that's totally fine. What I tend to offer is, do you want it to be live or do you want it to be recorded? Because recorded, you can edit worst case scenario, or you can throw it away and record it again, right? So if you're really, really nervous and are super unsure about how this goes over, just ask if you, instead of a live stream, could make it a recorded thing, and then your interviewer can publish it whenever.
Perfect. Actually, she stole the first thing I was going to say. If you're nervous, go for the recorded video. First of all, not only that gives you a chance to not feel like you're in a hurry and pause and think about your answer. Because trust me, if I'm doing a recorded one, I will cut out like super long pauses or awkward pauses or stuff like that. And if you're new to being interviewed, you're going to have those, especially if you're not an extrovert in the first place who really enjoys talking to people. There are a lot of authors. This is not a secret. There are a lot of authors that are introverts, and even some of the best speakers are ones that have trained themselves because they know they've got to do interviews, even if it's not on YouTube, but they've got to go out and promote their books.
Yeah.
They've got to go out to book signings and talk to people. So they train themselves to do it. Doesn't mean they enjoy it all the time. But yeah, that, and also it's a great place to get rid of, ums and like I said, and and any of those filler words that you're worried about yourself saying on a recorded interview, a good reviewer, I think most of the time will get rid of those. About the only time I don't get rid of them is if it's, the middle of a sentence and you can't really chop it out very well. Or sometimes if you leave one or two in, it sounds much more natural than a perfectly clipped video, obviously. The other thing that I try to do for authors, and you can obviously ask them, I don't always have book specific questions because I try to get into an interview sliding in sideways, having just finished the book the night or day before, so it's still fresh in my mind. But I do usually send them a week ahead of time. Not for Fina because I'm just throwing her into the bus, but for an author interview, I usually have a list of general questions like I'm going to ask you what your villain origin story is. I'm going to ask you what a day in your life looks like. I'm going to ask you what you're reading. I'm going to ask you to shout out a bookstore. I'm going to at least prepare you so you can know that you're going to have at least some questions that you're going to be ready for before we ever start.
Yeah. Ooh, and another thing is, if you're really nervous, if you want to ask someone like, hey, could I have an interview on your channel? Would you be interested in reading my book? And then do we want to do an interview? Do that with someone that you like. Like if you watch BookTube and you watch reviewers like Edward and myself, and you're like, oh, I like this person, ask them, right? Because then you have maybe already a connection with them and don't feel like, I don't know, intimidated or something. I think that can help too with just getting rid a little bit of that nervousness. At least that's what I did the other way around with authors. Like I started asking authors where I liked their work, where I followed them on social media, and I generally liked how they, what they did on social media. And I was like, okay, this seems like a nice person, so let me try this. That might be something too.
Yeah, I'm with Fina on that. My first 2 years, I only asked authors that I had already read and enjoyed. Probably midway through about my third year is when I would start occasionally getting authors reaching out to me or publicists reaching out to me. And so sometimes I am reading a book from an author I haven't read before. Hasn't backfired on me so far, but there's a little bit of nervousness when you're like, oh, I've got an interview with so and so. I don't, I haven't read the book yet. I don't know if I'm going to like it. But yeah, definitely going out there and being picky about who you choose, not only to interview, but also, like Fina says, to be interviewed by. I feel like that's going to make you a lot less nervous.
Yeah. Yeah. And then just enjoy it. At the end of the day, it's about promoting your book and getting the word out and getting, even if it's one more person that all of a sudden heard about your book, that's what it's all about. So show them who you are, show them why you wrote the book, and then everything's good.
And find somebody you don't mind annoying, who will be patient with you. And I would say, ask a friend, ask a family member, probably not a sibling, they're going to make fun of you. But ask somebody who you're comfortable with. Can we practice an interview? Can you ask me some questions?
Yeah. You're going to do great.
It'll be fun.
No worries.
Trust me, everybody is nervous about something the first time around.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do have to say, and Fina, you may have found this out too. I actually had an author one time thank me after the interview simply because they could tell that I'd read the book. And that surprised me because she's like, yeah, I actually had to do an interview with somebody who was asking questions that I could tell they hadn't actually read the book. They just were required to interview me for this piece. I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah,
I couldn't do that. I wouldn't even know what to ask in that moment, right? Like I mean, other than you're so welcome. Other than obviously I want to interview people that I enjoyed the work for, that I want to promote. I don't know, that for me it goes hand in hand. I know there are other specific like review specific channels where it's more about the general promotion, less about, hey, I personally enjoyed the book, but more like a, this is kind of my quote unquote job, and we have a bunch of reviewers, and we're like, this is our job. We're reviewing books and we're interviewing authors anyway. But yeah, I want to read the book because I want to know what question to ask. Like, I don't want to just sit there and it's like, hey, so you wrote a book. What was your inspiration? You know, of course that question will come up too, but I don't want it to be just these questions. I want to get into some of the spoiler-free nitty-gritty of the book, right? I want to talk about their characters. Like, why is your character so dark? Like, what secret is it? Like, what did you go through that you made your character like this, right? Or specific things about the world or the map that they have in the book, or, you know, whatever. That's half the fun, I find. I don't know.
I mean, it's nice to have. I mean, there's certain generic questions you can ask, but if you have an example, I also think it helps to know what questions not to ask. Because you may see something on the back of a book, or if you're in a hurry, you read somebody else's thing real quick, and you're like, "Oh, I'm going to ask about that," and not realize that completely spoils the story. Don't ask them about that.
Yeah. Although, having said that, reading the book and then talking with the author is also really hard to avoid spoilers. I had multiple interviews where I was like, how do I say this now? How do I ask this question without giving everything away? Gah, but I needs to know.
Trust me, I've got a few interviews where I either asked a question afterhand, after we were done, and not live, or you've seen me do the same thing where it's like, how do I? No, I'm not going to ask that. It's too close to spoiler. And I don't edit that. I leave most of my own mistakes in there. So
yeah. Oh, yeah. Even with the recorded ones, I leave them. Usually, I leave them as is, unless there's really something where. And I don't think I really had that situation. Not that I had like gazillion recorded like interviews, maybe 3 or so. But I cut the beginning and the ending, right? Like it's the intro stuff and just the getting ready things. That's usually cut out. And then, as you said, right, if there's a long pause, that's what I tend to edit out. Or I believe I had one situation where it was just they were stumbling over their words, so I cut that part out. But other than that, it's fine. People want to get to know the person, and that is part of the personality, to me at least. Like this, sometimes shy, sometimes just explaining their book and being the way you are, like I am right now. Although in my videos, this goes away usually.
one of those cameras that can catch hummingbirds in mid-flight there with your hands going back and forth like that.
I just took total scroll thought here because you're saying this, right? So I just took I'm taking right now a content creation course. That is actually a lot of fun. I'm learning a lot of stuff. I find this very interesting. And one of the things that he's teaching is on the camera, like this whole shutter speed versus aperture versus ISO, blah, blah, blah. And he's actually walking through that, like, okay, if you set it like this, then this would not be all the whooshy-washy stuff, so then you would actually see the hand moving back and forth. So I forgot what it was, but my aperture is too low, I guess. Whatever. Scroll thought. Continue.
Yep. No, it's all good. Let's face it, like I'm using an Elgato face cam right now. Yeah. It is pretty darn good, but it's not the same as a mirrorless camera. I'm not going to get the same looks. That's all there is to it. Yeah. And I mean, the plus side is if you really want to do it, is you can do that down here, but you just don't hold your hands up when you do it, and people won't realize you're freaking out there.
Unless it's part of like you are describing something, like the character went totally crazy. Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, perfect. But yeah, I do have to say there was at least one time where I'd asked an author after we were done, and I'm like, I went back over it and it's like, you said this, but I felt like it was kind of personal and you kind of looked like you weren't sure you wanted to say that. Do you want me to cut that out? And they said yes. And luckily it wasn't alive at the time. So,
yeah.
I mean, I cut it out. It's like, it's part of this job, like I said, is you asked about being comfortable. Again, it's finding people that you can trust.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you say something on a live stream, sometimes you're screwed. I don't know about YouTube is very easy for me to cut off like the beginning of something or the end of something, but I'm still not great at trimming the middle.
Can you even do that? I haven't figured. But worst case scenario, like if it was really bad and you're really uncomfortable, you can always also ask the person, like, can we take it down?
Yep.
Even if it was alive. I mean, there's that technology, and to the point of trust, I think that is one of the important things for me as a reviewer. I want authors to trust me, right? Like, not just the viewers that I'm recommending books to, but I want the authors also to trust me with, if I get an arc that eventually, even if it takes 2 or 3 years, I will read it and talk about it. And if I don't get to it, then I find a different creative way of showing it off of some way or another, right? And the same goes to, hey, if I have you on my channel and interview you, I want this to be a positive experience for everybody involved, and I will not do anything that will harm you or anything, right? It's not good for my channel. It's not good for me unless my brand is, let's mess with authors. But then you probably know that before you go on my channel because it's my whole brand and I do that with every author. But that's not what, in my case, not the case, I guess.
And I've had authors talk to me afterwards, and like we get done with it, and we'll be talking about something. He's like all of a sudden like, "Wait, we're not still recording, are we?" I was like, "No, we're done."
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, sometimes they let down their guard, and there are things that happen, and people talk about them, and they talk about what's going on in the world or in publishing or whatever, and
Yeah.
that's a conversation they're having with me. That's not a conversation they're having with the world.
Yeah.
So those never
None
see
of
the
that
light
is
of
being
day.
shared. Yeah. Even
Yeah.
afterwards. Like, you're absolutely right. It's the same when I talk with or even booktuber interviews, right? Like,
Mm.
no matter what happens after the life stays there. Happens in Vegas, stays in Vegas. Like that's a
YouTube after dark.
yeah, no, same. Because yeah, that's a private conversation between two people, not something that you then use to
Right.
this author told me in secret, blah 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 blah,
Yeah, I mean, first of all, you never get another author again.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, once what you see up on my YouTube, the interviews, those are the only videos. Once I render that video, the raw footage is deleted. I don't have the original raw footage anymore. So if anybody ever said anything while it was still recording, if it's not on the live, or if it's not out on YouTube, it doesn't exist. I don't have a copy of that somewhere
Yeah.
to screw with somebody.
Yeah. No.
So
That's not the whole point of any of this.
no. And sometimes it's to make friends. I mean, I had at least one author where I talked to for 90 minutes, and we ended the thing because it was getting late, and then we talked for another 90.
This happens. Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's half the fun too. As a
exactly.
reviewer.
Some of those, I mean, Kai Yi, I can speak English today. Not that that's necessarily English, but you know what I'm saying. It's a name. I don't know if that counts. I can't remember where I was going to go with it. Never mind.
You lost your red
I
string.
lost my train of thought.
That's the word.
When I stumbled over the name, I dropped the thought, and it wiggled between the tracks. Who knows what happens?
So now I have a question, Kai. You said aspiring author. Like, do you have your book ready? Are you still writing? What's the status of your book right now? Now I need to know. What are you even writing? Like what genre? Tell us everything you can already. No, just kidding. Obviously, don't. But I'm curious now.
No, we're going to pause completely now until you. No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to do that. While she's typing up all that information, what big plans do you have in store for your channel? What big plans do you have? Even maybe something in the next week or two.
All right, let's start with the next week or two because that is that is not too far away. Exciting. So then you're pretty much in editing. Sorry, I'm totally squirreling again. But then you're in editing phase right now, right? So you're pretty much basically done writing. You're editing now, getting the cover ready, all those fun things. All right. And I'm waiting again. No. The next 1 to 2 weeks is big for me. I already talked about the Green Rider. Like that's my big series that I keep talking about. Like I keep joking that I talk about in every video, in every interview that I'm in every video that I do, I talk about Green Rider. It's not literally, but joking around. And the book 8 in the series is coming out on Tuesday. So I'm going to celebrate that with my next 3 videos. I apologize for everybody who has not read Green Riders. But obviously I want to do a review for book 8. Then the video that I'm going to launch on Tuesday though is everything you need to know in preparation for book 8. So basically summarizing the story for everybody who has read the series already. And then I have one video planned that is spoiler free and everybody can watch. Basically I created my own book tag, which is the Green Rider book tag, and just a little bit of fun, some of those fun things. That's my next 2 weeks. Then October is also going to be a big readathon month because the Bookish drummer Jake and the chapter conundrum, his wife Stacy, are doing their October King readathon, which they do every year for the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. And I'm captain on Team Road Work. So I'm going to, if anybody wants to join, you're welcome. You don't have to read King. You can read any book. There's like 20 different prompts that you can submit books for, and then you get points for your team and so on and so on. If you're interested, let me know. I'm happy to tell you more. But that's all October. So I need to read and read and read and read and read and get points for my team. And then in October, excuse me, we are also starting, Nico from Nico's Book Review and I are starting our backlist book club. We finally have the book that we're going to read in October, which is Shards of Honor by, I never get her name right, Bujold. Louise McMaster Bujold, I believe is the author's name. That's the book that was picked for the very first month, and that kicks off our 13-month book club of like 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s female fantasy, sci-fi and fantasy author book club. I don't know why. Like sometimes I wonder, like, why am I signing up for projects like this? Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited for that one because there's a lot.
I have one of her books somewhere too, and I still haven't read it.
Well, you can read that then instead in October with us if you want. So anyway, I'm excited. Nice. Yep.
Volume 2 at 90%.
Oh, I love that. Can I say how much I appreciate that as a reader? I hate nothing more. And I understand it's an art, right? I understand take your time as an author. This is not meant to pressure authors. But you read volume 1 and you love it so much. You're like, where's book 2? When do I get book 2? And it's nowhere to be seen, crickets on the author's social. And you're like, maybe do I get it? So if there are authors out there that have book 2, book 3, whatever, in progress already and good to go after book 1. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I don't have them on my shelf, but I know I had Sarah Kozloff on, I think the first year I was just doing this, and she had a 4-book series that she got together with her publisher, and they dropped one a month.
Oh, nice.
So as soon as you were done with one, you could read another.
That is nice. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even a year. Like, I don't have an issue if there's a year between things, but it's if you publish a book and then 10 years later, nothing still, that's where it gets. But,
We're not mentioning any specific authors.
I was actually thinking about that one. I'm thinking about a different one, but
yeah.
No, that one at this point, I'm like, that's fine. I'm accepting there are 5 books and there probably won't be more. I think he has done enough for the world. Yeah. That's the one where we're good.
Sometimes I think about, apologies if you see this, I doubt you'll see this. Rothfuss, when for a while there, I was thinking, like, I love the first 2 books so much. I will be happy to wait for the 3rd book if it's as good as rather than being let down by a bad 3rd book. But yeah, I think where I'm at the point now where I'd probably have to reread the first 2 if book 3 ever comes out.
Yeah.
I'm at the point now where I remember liking Name of the Wind more than I remember Name of the Wind.
Yeah, there are those situations too. That's one that I haven't read yet and probably never will read, I have to say. But yeah.
Yeah. When it first came out, I didn't know it was going to be this long.
Yeah, fair. That's with me and the Green Rider, because that series started in 1998. Book 1 came out in 1998 and she is still not done. So that's that series for me. At least she is publishing books still. So,
True. I mean, was it Sue Grafton? I think got all the way to like W when she passed. And so, because she had the whole alphabet series where every book started with a different letter.
Yeah.
She went all the way to the W's.
That is,
I will give her estate props, though. They already said it's like, these are the books she wrote. We're not going to have somebody else finish it. This was her work.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Totally fair. Totally fair.
I'm
just seeing one that launch till book 3 is done. So it's a trilogy, right? Did you say that?
Yeah. Sorry, I do this for authors. That's I don't have the chat show up for the guest. That way, if I have, an author on, especially a female, we don't end up with some stupid troll in the chat saying stuff and they can't see it.
Yeah.
They
Well,
can
I have
only
it
see what I
online.
click on.
Yeah.
I know you're watching YouTube on the side there, but I'm saying I specifically I have that turned off so that a guest, unless they're watching the channel while we're live, you're not going to get some guy who thinks he's 13 years old and here making some stupid comment or something.
Oh,
So
yeah. Unfortunately.
or bugging an author about something that it's like we weren't going to talk about that. I mean, we all know what happened at Worldcon. Some people don't be allowed to mic. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I control what the guest sees.
I appreciate that. I think
Unless they
that's
cheat.
yeah, no, in general, I think it's a good thing. And it's not that I constantly sit here and be like, "What's going on?" I just wanted to double check that I remembered correctly, scroll
Yep.
brain and all.
All right.
Well, good luck, Kai. I hope everything will go well. Let us know when you're ready.
And let us know. I mean, again, we're not going to sit here and wait while you type it out, but if you want to tell us like genre or elevators pitch or anything like that, feel free to practice it out
But
now.
don't feel pressured. Like if you are
No,
not
no.
ready for
I'm
this,
just
don't.
I'm saying if you want to share it, we will enjoy it. If you don't want to share it because you're not ready yet, we're good with that too.
Yes. We can
A little
try
bit.
to be patient till February.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Kind
So,
of. A little bit.
what are you reading right now?
Me?
Yes.
Well, obviously, I am reading The Haunting of Payne's Hollow because
That
Kelly
cover.
Armstrong. It comes
That
out next
cover.
month, and I'm doing
Oh,
an interview with her.
I cannot.
I'm reading Brian Freeman's Photograph, which also comes out next month because I'm interviewing him. And I'm trying to finish up Paul Jessup's Glass House because he's co-hosting with me on Sunday. And he gave me the ARC and EARC of it back when I interviewed him like 2 years ago, and I still hadn't finished it yet. It's like I'm trying to knock it out. But I've had a busy year. I keep telling people like it took me 6 months to read The Way of a Dan because I would start it and then I'd have to have a book I'd have to have finished for an interview. And then
Yeah.
I'd read a chapter and then I'd have to read a book for it. So it's like I'm gonna finish this up. I want to finish it before I talk to him on Sunday. So
Wait, you're talking to two people then? Oh, you're talking about the Glass House, not the Way of it.
the
Yeah.
glasses,
Yeah.
yeah. Sunday is just the horror Rex. Paul and I are going to be. We've got a bunch of recorded videos from horror authors suggesting what they think you should read for spooky season.
Ooh. Okay.
And then Paul's on there because when all of those are done, he'll come up with like another 15 books that didn't get mentioned, and he'll throw those in there too.
All right, I'll see if I have time on Sunday. Because yeah, that's one of the things. Like I am experimenting with horror to see what I like because I'm a scaredy cat. Like, oh my goodness, I've never read it and I probably will never. Like slasher, jump scare type horror is nope, no. And I like psychological horror. So if it's either something like is it or is it not, that type of conversation, or like weird horror, I'm good with. Body horror, if it's like very little, I don't want the whole splashy scene. I don't need that. But if it's very little, I can do that too.
Yeah.
But specifically psychological horror, like that's something that I'm more and more discovering. And I've read a couple of things that are just fantastic. I love to be in people's head. Like I love to be in crazy people's head.
Yeah.
I don't know what that says about me, but like I really enjoy that kind of stuff. Goodbye.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same way though. I do not like. I jokingly call it gorer, where it's more about grossing you out than it is about scaring you.
Yeah.
Not a big fan of it. Not a big fan of the body horror.
Yeah.
Especially anything around the eyeballs. I can't do the eyeballs. I can't even put contacts in. I can't touch my own eye.
No, I can do. Like that, I don't mind. But if it's like this, in a TV show or something, when you see the big eye half popping out, that's where it's like, oh no. Thank you.
Yeah, I read Nick Cutter's The Queen. I had him on a couple years last year. It all blurs together after a while. And there's a part in there where
Not too long ago.
bees and got inside a body, and so they're crawling around inside the eyeballs. I'm like, I don't know about that part.
No.
It's a really good book, but I didn't need that part.
No.
So let
new.
me ask you a question, Fina. That one thing, again, I told you when I started on BookTube, I didn't even know there was a BookTube. I was just posting stuff and never looking at it. BookTube taught me that even though I thought I was a relatively prolific reader, I've got no freaking clue what's going on. There are so many authors and so many books that I did not know existed until I really started paying attention to BookTube.
Yes. Yes. Same.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a it's two sides. So yes, absolutely. It definitely opens up a whole new world of, oh, look at this. Oh, shiny new object. I mean, there's a reason why these shelves look the way they do. It's dangerous. BookTube is dangerous. It took me a little while to, restraint and all, to not buy everything that I see in someone else's BookTube channel. It's like, oh, look at this. Oh, look at this. And then all of a sudden I have like 1,000 books sitting here that I will not get read in my lifetime. So learning that restraint was a thing. So yes, absolutely. I learned about so many more really cool authors that I had no clue existed. On the other hand, what I also learned is I read a lot of things that also no one else has heard about before, because I have been reading since childhood. My mother has always worked in a bookstore. My grandma owned her own bookstore. Like, I was always surrounded by books growing up. So I always found books. Like, for me, finding a book before BookTube, for me, finding a book was going to a bookstore and just browsing shelves and, grabbing things and going home and reading them, and then turning around, going back to the bookstore and grabbing more books and reading. Like, that was kind of my life. And because of that, I've read a lot of things that no one has heard about, or very little. I mean, there's never no one, but very few people have heard about, like a lot of non-hype stuff. Um, Game of Thrones was one of the, that's a hype thing, I know. But Game of Thrones was one of those way back when, like at least 15 years ago, if not way more, probably way more. They published really pretty covers in Germany for the German version of Game of Thrones. And my mom and I were like going around a bookstore and we saw that. And I was like, oh, that actually sounds like a really cool fantasy story. So she and I read it. Like, we bought one set and then, one after another, we read the books. And then I kind of felt like, this ending is kind of open. I don't know. It feels like it's not quite unfinished, but I was like, okay, probably fine that way, and walked away. And then I didn't realize this is actually a super famous, super important fantasy story till they started doing the TV show when I was living then in the US. As like there were years between that. I was like, oh, I've read this. I actually really enjoyed this book. I didn't realize any of this. So yeah, it's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's a little crazy. I do agree with you on this, especially with my wife. We tried to downsize after the kids moved out,
Mm-hmm.
and so we used to have like this whole wall that was just like it was built-in bookshelves.
Oh,
She had
awesome.
her side, and I had my side, and they were full, and we still had more. And now she's trying to cut down on the number of physical books we have laying around the house. So I have started trying. She's got a thing is like I have to at least read at least one book that I already own and donate it or give it to somebody or something every month. Uh, but the downside is, of course, too much like you, once you start doing any sort of author interviews and stuff, sometimes you start getting these things called arcs.
Mm-hmm.
And then you
Yeah.
feel like you need to have those done by a certain time. And the books that you've had for like 10, 15, 20 years in your TBR, just looking over there going, dude, seriously, I'm right here.
Yeah, yeah. Same with the other thing, because I'm reading a lot more, I'm utilizing my library a lot more. Same thing. When the library hold finally comes through, you're like, okay, I have a plan now. It just happened, by the way. So it's not happens all the time. I was like, okay, I'm finishing this arc because I need to submit a blurb for this arc before October 1st to the authors. And then I read Children of Time, which is my buddy read with Josh, because we were supposed to read it in September and it's the frickin' 26th and I haven't started with it yet. And then I have one more arc, and then I want to read this book that I wanted to read for a really long time because I love the prequel novellas, and now I want to read book one really, really, really urgently. And then I have another arc. So, and then my library said like, oh, here's Mistborn Part 2. Read this instead. Like, shit. Sorry, I don't know if I can swear on your channel, but I did now.
I mean, it's live, so it doesn't matter. You ready for this?
Time becomes relevant. That's a good title already. Born with a coveted magic magnolia. Ooh, I love that name. Wants her mother back, and Shazwick of Land has promised to help. Shaz is of an immortal race, so rare that scholars think they're mythical. Ooh, okay. He is one with the land, and creation rejoices in aiding them. For the first time, he has something to lose. Keep his mortal love alive. As he confronts the warmongering source of his time becomes relevant, is the first. Ooh. Lyrical voice with the soaring mood of immortal fantasy. Oh, I love that sentence. Set in a multicultural world that is a tale of political intrigues. Yes. Yes. Family and friendship. Yes. Culture, races, and time. Yes. That sounds fantastic.
I'm pretty sure Fina's going to read it if nobody else.
That sounds fantastic. Okay, I'm sorry to ask that question, but unfortunately we are in that time at the moment. How smutty is it? Like, I'm sorry to ask this question, and I hate that I have to ask
It does have a little bit of a romantic-y tinge to it, it sounds like. So,
a little bit,
where does
yes,
it
yes.
fall on the spectrum is the question I'm supposing.
Yes. So, and this is nothing. Please don't get it wrong. This is more for me because for me, if I want to read a fantasy, I have my head is in a different space than when I say like, oh, I want to read a romantasy or a fantasy with a heavy romance plot or romance for that matter. Like, they're two very different needs at that moment. So I just want to know what need do I need to be prepared for? What urge do I need to be prepared for?
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, since romantasy is such a hype at the moment, book publishers are very weird with marketing them. So it's a bit a funky situation as a reader right now. I love romantasy, like has nothing to do with that. I totally love like Fourth Wing. Oh, I ate this up. And there's a lot of other perfect. Okay, that is good to know. So a slow burn. Okay, I can live with that. But yeah, it's like I just got a book that is a big hype book at the moment too. What's the name again? Alchemist by Sen Lin Yu. I'm not sure I pronounce this right. Like I just got this at the bookstore. Very hyped book.
People are talking about that in one of the discords I'm reading right now.
Yeah, so that was released on Tuesday, and I read through it and was like, "Oh, that sounds like a really cool dark fantasy story." But the more I heard about it, it's like, no, this is romantasy, right? Like the more and it's so weird. Like you have, as a reader, you have to be very mindful nowadays about, okay, is this now fantasy, like Game of Thrones, Tolkien fantasy, or is this Fourth Wing type fantasy? Which is fine. Again, I don't have an issue with either. I love them both, but it's a very different. Like if I read Fourth Wing, I want popcorn entertainment, I'm fine with the romance in there. Like that's what I want in that moment. But if I'm in a fantasy mood, I want character motivation, like really deep dive and vast world building. And I want to have like info dumpy 200-page tell me everything kind of stuff, It's just a very different reading experience. And that has become a little bit harder lately to like when you grab a book and it's not immediately clear, okay, like does it fit into this box or in the other box? Yeah, and again, that's not an author's fault, not a market fault. I'm glad that this helps people read more, right? Like I'm always for like read more people, like especially younger people. If it gets them reading, I don't care what they're reading. I think it's more a marketing publisher/marketing issue that they are trying this hype right now, and they're kind of weirdly in how they are marketing it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, it all depends on where. Romance to me is even bigger spectrum than almost any other genre, like where it falls on that. Have you ever read The Olympian Affair by Jim Butcher as part of the Cinder Spires?
I have not read any Jim Butcher yet. Jim Butcher is also one of those authors where I'm a bit careful with, because how do I say that? The male gaze seems to be very prevalent, and I'm not a huge fan of male gaze type fantasy, if that makes sense.
I think it's much more in the Dresden Files than it was in either the Codex Alera or the Cinder Spires series.
Now I know what you're talking about. Sorry, yes, I have not read it, but I have book 1, and I didn't read it. It's somewhere up there, I think. I have not read it yet because book 2 just came out, right? Like he published book 1 and then nothing, and didn't book
Book
2, or
2
is he
came
planning on
out.
book 2?
When did I have him on? Hang on. I remember we talked about it. That's why I'm trying to remember when I had him on. So I had him on in November of 23, and that's when book 2 came out.
Oh, it has been a little while longer then. Okay,
Yep.
good.
There was also a novella that came out like 3 months before book 2, which was kind of his reintroduction into the series because he hadn't done it so long. He actually said he wasn't sure he was going to do it because book 1 didn't blow up, but then he was at Dragon Con and a whole bunch of people came up to him and he's like, he said like 25 different people come up as like, when's the next Cinder Spires coming out? So
Yeah.
my daughter
So
loves Cinder Spires, so
yeah, Codex Alera I had on my TBR for a long time, like a friend. Also, again, back Germany time, and every time Germany time is 11 plus years at this point ago because I'm living in the US for 11 years now. So she and we are both big fantasy readers, and she always recommended things and I always recommended things. Anyway, so she was the one that recommended Codex Alera, and I haven't read it since, but I still want to. But it's one of those, I think I like it, but I think there are other books that I like more, shiny new objects and whatnot. So I want to read those first, and then eventually I'll get to it. And Cinderspire is similar, although I think I would read Cinderspire before Codex Alera because it had like airships and whatnot, right? Like Zeppelins and stuff on the cover.
like a silk punk or steampunk type. I guess it's more steampunk. Even though you don't hear a lot of stuff about steam engines, it has got that feel to it.
Yeah.
And he calls it steampunk.
Yeah, and that's kind of a subgenre that I like. So if you like that, have you read what is it called? Curtis Craddock is the author. Drowning. I don't know what the series is called, but it's like an alchemy of masks and mirrors is book 1.
I have not read that.
Yeah, that is fantastic. Like that is also with airships and a little bit more on that steampunk side, and fantastic. So good.
I think the main reason I was asking you about the Cinderspire series is because that series has the type of romance that I like.
Okay.
It's a much more mature adult love type thing.
Yeah.
It's not, I saw your eyes and I can't stop thinking about you.
I mean, I like that sometimes, but yeah, I hear. Have you read Nameless Land yet by Kate Elliott? Have you read book 2 yet?
No, I've got it. We hadn't. I think I've got it. I think I've got I've had so many. Like last month, I think I had like 4 interviews. So I haven't snuck anything in that wasn't for, or almost nothing that wasn't for an interview recently.
Yeah. So if you get to it, which you might, right? If you have her on, because that book launches November 4th, I think.
Yeah, because we're going to do the interview before. We might do a live stream, but we're going to do it before the book drops.
Yeah. So, I mean, you've read book 1, so you know that there is a little bit of a love story going on as well. Yeah. And book 2 obviously continues that without going into spoilers some sort. Yeah. But that also is like one of those more mature, grown-up
and it didn't get spicy.
No. And it's not like, this is one of those fantasies where it's not romantasy. It's very much a fantasy. Like it's about, the witch roads, and you've read the book, like that kind of stuff. The witch roads and the faraway land and that weird prince that, is kind of a douche and like,
almost everybody in that book's a douche, let's face it. Almost.
Fair. Almost everyone, not everyone. But like that's still the big part. But you have that side plot of romance that just adds to the whole story. It makes the characters more alive and more realistic and that kind of stuff. And that's something I love too, when it is that kind of stuff. If it is a fantasy and has like a romance story that helps with the character arc, with the character motivation, with the, that kind of stuff. So
have you read Kimberly Lemon?
No.
She's, I think one of her first books, or at least the first book in that series, was That Time I Got Drunk and Fell in Love with a Demon, or something like that.
That title says something. I have not read it because that's one of those where I'm wondering if it is too much on the romantasy side and more like cozy romantasy. But
here's what I will tell you, because this was the part that, nothing against Kimberly and the people who love her books, the part that I can't wrap my head around in that book, because I read the first one, I saw her on SFF Addict used to do it. I mean, this year they did live stuff at Worldcon, but in the past they would have like a Worldcon thing going on with a bunch of panels and stuff during Worldcon. And I'd seen her on that and I really enjoyed her conversation, so I thought I'd try her out. Reading that book, I got very much vibes of What if Travis Baldree wrote a book but went full spice?
Yeah, that's what it feels like cozy romantasy.
Yeah, it's like there's parts of the book that are very much fantasy, and they're going on a quest and they're overcoming obstacles, and then they're running in a cave, and then they're doing something else, and then they're running on a boat, and then it's
Yeah, I don't so first of all, the cozy part, like, for me, again, it's not I do like I
Mhm,
wrong direction. So Jesus, I how know how pointing works. Like, there's my fourth wing, special edition fourth wing and Iron Flame. So I love romantasy. I
mhm.
have a whole thing of romantasy down here. So I don't mind that stuff. I like romance. There's some great romance books out there, but in that particular case, it's the cozy part because cozy fantasy is not something I don't know. I find it boring.
I
I
don't
have
I
not
don't think
read
that's
Travis Baldree at all, but just the whole vibes that I'm getting from like cozy fantasy, that's just not.
I didn't think I would like cozy fantasy, and I probably still like epic fantasy more. But I listened to the audiobook by Travis Baldree, and he started out as a voice actor, so he
That's right.
dude
Yeah.
can do the voice acting. He's excellent. In fact, I'm hoping to have him on next year. But it, I fell in love with the story. It
Maybe
was
I need
epic
to do it as
fantasy.
an
There wasn't a
audiobook.
whole lot of
Yeah.
fighting and stuff going on. I mean, if you're looking for that war epic type stuff, that's very background to the rest of the
Yeah.
story. But the man tells a good story.
Yeah, maybe I need to try it as an audiobook. That might be a good idea. Because I don't like with audiobooks, I can't do like epic fantasy or anything, hugely complicated. I can't do that on audio. I miss everything and then I'm lost after an hour.
Yeah.
But anything that is like thrillers or romance or anything that is a bit like lighter from a story perspective and from a detail perspective, that I definitely enjoy on audiobook. And I hope anything that I'm saying, no one understands this the wrong way. I'm just like no rating or no prejudice or anything with any of that I'm saying. I'm saying that just in case anyone misunderstands
No, no, I
or
get it.
reads something into like um yeah, but that might be actually a good idea. Maybe that's what I should try because I still have audiobook credits for Libro FM, I believe. Maybe that's what I should use
Yep.
them for.
I've got a couple of credits on there. I'm saving one to give away this weekend, but for the horror thing. But yeah, I'm still hanging on to one. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it yet. So
There will always be a new book sometime soon that you're like, this, that's what I'm going to do with it. There's enough stuff
exactly.
releasing every Tuesday or indie any other given day.
By the way, if you wonder why we're talking about Libro, we love Libro. Libro is kind of like Audible, except for they give a piece of the pie to your local of your choice independent bookseller instead of to Jeff Bezos.
Yep.
And I'm not an Amazon hater. I buy a lot of other stuff off of them, but I try not to buy my books there if I can avoid it.
Yeah.
I like my bookstores.
Yeah. I like bookshop.org for that reason too.
But yeah, I think the other thing about BookTube, I mean, yeah, there will be some people who get upset as like, how did you not like Name of the Wind or insert book here? But I kind of enjoy the fact that we don't all necessarily love the exact same books.
That, exactly that. Yes. I think it is fantastic when you can have a conversation with someone that saw something different in a book or did
Yeah.
not agree with you in which way ever. But I find it for me at least, like talking about a book with someone else that saw other things than I did makes the book so much better for me because all of the sudden it's like I get such a wider view of what is happening in that story. Yeah.
Uh, I used to be in a book club at the local bookstore. There was two that I was part of. One was classical books, and the other one was fantasy and sci-fi. And I can tell you right now, if everybody who's there loved the book, or if everybody who's there hated the book, it is the shortest, most boring book discussion you can ever find. But if you can find somebody that loved the book and somebody who hated the book, break out the popcorn because it's going to be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Like that, yeah, that's the most fun when you talk about a book, right? Like for me, having this conversation and
Mhm.
someone saying like, no, I didn't, or I didn't or didn't like this because no. You learn so much about a book, about a person and the book itself too. I find this so satisfying. to have these
So,
conversations.
weird question for you. Aside from
Uh,
Kai, who are you interviewing next?
I honestly don't even have an interview scheduled at the moment.
Kai, you like how I just threw the fact that she's interviewing you next?
And I completely missed that.
I'm just
Well,
having fun.
no, but in all seriousness, I mean, if it's totally up to you, but I definitely will check out your book based on that description. So that is already a given, and then we go from there. No,
And
but
I've only got one interview scheduled for February so far, so I might be available as well.
no pressure, really no pressure. No, but I actually don't have one at the moment, which is something that I also just realized not too long ago. I was like, oh, I need to read a book now that I then want to interview the author. And it's one of those, I had my list ready of, those are the things. And then my library hold for Mistborn came through. I was like, shit. Throw the plan all over. We start again. So,
Yeah.
but I hope to get to Mark from the book launch. I don't know if he's still there. He recommended a book to me, The Land of the Ill-Imagined. Is that what it is called? By, oh God, I'm horrible with names. Hang on. Let me look it up. And I got that arc. The book sounds super interesting. And if the book holds up, that would be something. That would be someone, not something. That would be someone that I would love to interview then. Alexander Robb, Land of the Ill-Imagined. It's relatively short, like 250, 260 pages or something. So that is one of the arcs that I have on my list. And then I have a book that I am not allowed to talk about yet till it is announced, that I just finished. That was the whole where I had to put a blurb together this weekend. But once they are a bit further along with whatever it is that they are doing, I'm hoping that I get them maybe on my YouTube channel. That would be fun. But yeah, nothing set yet, nothing planned yet. I'm relatively loose with those types of things. I'm trying not to, stress myself, because I am someone that stresses herself out, if I'm stressing myself out too much about it. My goodness, I swear I can talk as well. But
this
yeah,
is where live streams bite you in the butt, because it's if you did this on a recording, it's like, I'll just cut that out later.
Yeah. The good thing though is it's not my channel, so I can just say whatever.
I used to love the Brian Lee Durfee ones, because he'd always say, like, he's gruesome. I was like, I'll just cut that out, but he never cut it out. It was always in the video.
Yeah.
Life is
I cut way too much out. Like, my videos are usually 2-3 times the length. What I record is usually 2 to 3 times more than what I actually end up putting in the video. Although I've gotten better over the years. Like, I'm realizing more what I need to do to help myself to not have that happen. And then I'm also realizing more, like, because I tend to want to say things all in one go, so that I just have to cut the uhs and ems out, worst case scenario. But I'm realizing more and more, no, why? I can just take something that I said 10 minutes ago and put it, like, at the end, and it works. Like, no one will know because it looks the same. works great.
I used to edit a lot more than I do now. These days, I've been doing this a while, so hopefully some of the ums and stuff have been just weeded out. Although I found sometimes other words sneak themselves in. I found that a lot of times I say, like I said, instead of now. It's like I've just changed drug of choice. I'm a little surprised you didn't get Kate on, since you had her on for book 1. I was thought for sure you were going to line her up for book 2.
I've thought about it. It's a good question. I should ping her probably. And
You've read the book already. I mean,
yeah,
it
I
would
still
be
have to
literally
write
no
the
more
review.
homework for you.
Yeah, well, I still have to write the review and send it to, NetGalley and all of these things. And now that I have read the duology, I want to actually film a review for it, because I haven't filmed a separate review for Witch Roads since I had her on. So I didn't do a review, and then so I definitely wanted to do now a review with both. See, that's where,
being able to
flying.
review the duology. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Which I like. I like doing serious, not serious reviews, but a review of a serious
Yeah.
not a super serious review, but like when the series is done, then a review of the whole series. Because for me, that's how I as a reader function. I love, as like we talked about this already, I love when I know, okay, there are book 2, 3 are on the horizon somehow. So if I read book 1 now, I don't have to wait too long. And it's more a time management thing because I don't want to reread book 1 and then reread book 1 and 2 to read book 3 because you forget details. We're all reading a lot of books here on BookTube. So, I tend to forget details. So I'd like to read them all relatively close to each other. And then when I look at reviews, I tend to look at the last book in a series to see did people like how the series ended, and then I will read book 1. So, especially with things that are older and out already, obviously not with new stuff that doesn't work, obviously. But yeah, that's kind of how I function.
I want to ask you a question. I want to see if something about being a booktuber now has changed your opinion on something, because I realized the other day it's changed mine. Before I was a booktuber, if I was picking up a book, and obviously the numbers have changed, but at the time it's like if I'm spending $18 on a book, now it's probably like 30.
Depending on the book, yeah.
Right. I want 5, 6, 7. I want my money's worth. I want a book that's I'm going to take. This is going to last me a while.
Yeah.
And now that I'm doing BookTube, I read a book the other day for an interview, and it was like 160 pages. I'm like, oh bless you, I can get this one done in a day or two. Those sub 300 books just have such a closer attachment to my heart these days than they used to.
No, that has not changed for me. Like I love my chunkers. Yeah, no. So it's since I read a lot of romance and thrillers with fantasy, like if we just look at sci-fi fantasy, yes, I do. Well, I mean, I say that, and then at the same time, I don't, because what I love about fantasy is that I can dive deep into a different world. Like I love good character work, I love good world building, and you need pages to do that to a certain extent. There are exceptions to that, right? There are shorter stories that are fantastic even in a more limited setting. But generally, when it comes to fantasy, I want it to be chunkers and ginormous and big stories, and it doesn't have to be big themes or pretentious or anything. But I like vivid stories, big stories, lots of detail. Give me all the character motivation. When it comes to like romance or thrillers or stuff like that, please stay in the 300-page range. Like I don't want a 500-page thriller. That gets tedious. Then I know that you have 200 pages in the middle that probably could be cut out because you just went way too slow. So, kind of like that. And I think I've always been like that, but I don't know. Ask my 20-year-ago self. I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely find that horror lends itself to a good short book better than some of the other genres do.
Yeah, with horror, depending on the horror, I'm okay if it goes into the 400-500-page range, depending on the horror. If it is a horror that is more like a thriller, like set in our world, and it's not a supernatural element, or something like that, then you need to stay like in the 300-page range again, similar to a thriller. But if it's something a bit more fantastical or has something unique that is not just a thriller type story, then I'm totally fine with 400 or 500 pages too.
Yeah, I just feel like horrors, for me, horrors a lot of times they just need to hit the vibe.
Yeah.
They don't have to tell a story, they have to tell a feeling, and you can do that in fewer pages, I think.
Fair.
Now,
yeah.
Again, my favorite horror of all time is Swan Song, which is like 1,000 pages, so I give that as a chonker.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Swan Song by Robert McCammon, freaking huge.
Yeah.
Halfway through
that
the
is
book,
one
it
of
says
those
book 2, and
authors.
it was never 2 books.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. Yeah, he's one of those authors where like, ooh, I have to read it one day, and then I will see if it's an author for me or not. Like I'm not so sure yet. But yeah.
He's kind of like, in fact, back in the late 80s, early 90s, it was King and McCammon. That's all there was. They kind of have the same thing to them where they've got like King wrote The Stand, McCammon wrote Swan Song. They're both big chonker.
Yeah, I heard about that they're both very similar, right?
Yeah, it's. I don't think that. I mean, some people. I think it's more a vibe than anything else. I haven't been saying that. I have not read The Stand yet, um, but they've also got some books like, King wrote Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption, which when the movie came out, nobody realized it was a Stephen King movie. Uh, and McCammon wrote Boy's Life, which is a coming of age in the South type story. So
Yeah.
they both have range. So I think you may not like all of their stuff, just you may not like all of King, you may not like all of McCammon, but they probably both have things you would like.
Yeah. Well, that's for King, that is definitely true because I've read, I don't know, 17, 18 of his books at this point, and
Mhm.
I definitely like the psychological horror stories more by him
Yeah,
than his, like, the typical books that everybody talks about, It and whatnot. I'm
yeah,
very much more I like the Richard Bachman books, that kind of stuff by him. So, okay, that's good to know about McKemmon then, yeah.
yeah. I'll tell you, if you're not into if horror is not your strong suit, because Swan Song is very apocalyptic, and again, it is. Even though it's one of my favorite books of all time, it is a freaking. It's a big
1,000
book.
pages, yeah.
Um, but I know, for instance, John Minton and a couple other guys, they love Boy's Life. Absolutely, it's like one of their
Yeah.
favorites.
Yeah.
It's completely a different vibe, but it's still McCammon.
So, and then now I need to be careful because there's an author with a similar name, but that's Cormac McCarthy. That's The Road, right? But different authors,
Yeah, yeah.
different folks. Okay, yeah, yeah. Ugh. That's the other one that is kind of hypey on BookTube right now, like both of these, Boys Life and The Road, and that other
What was
author.
it? A couple of years ago, I swear Lonesome Dove everybody was reading.
Oh
So
yeah, it keeps popping up. I was like, that's a book I definitely do not care about at all.
yeah.
Have fun, boys.
But I mean, it was like all these science fiction and fantasy booktubers were all reading Lonesome Dove, and
Yeah.
it may be an absolutely great book, but I just wasn't expecting it from the people who were talking about it.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious too. And then they started reading more non-SFF stuff, like the big
Yeah.
books that you're supposed to read, right? And that kind of stuff. I thought it was funny.
And don't get me wrong, I love other type of books. Like my top three books of all time are probably Swan Song, which is horror, Count of Monte Cristo, which is a classic, and Name of the Wind, which is fantasy.
Yeah.
Probably my favorite three without having to sit down and figure out the minutia of which book I like better. It
Yeah.
also helps that at my age I've probably forgotten a bunch of books I read too. So
Yeah. Same.
give me Raceland and some Dragonlance. I'll be happy with that for a week too. So
Well, I'm in the middle of Grist still, so I love these. Super cheesy, old school fantasy. It's great. Like no issues with that at all. No,
well, I
but
mean,
that's why I like reading, right? There's just so much different stuff and you'll always find something that works for you. Like I had a friend again way back when had a friend, she's like, "I don't know where to start with reading, like, I'm not a reader, I never had a book, like, I tried, but I never got to the finish, and, they were all, ugh," and she read, like, these big books you're supposed to read, and, we went back and forth a little bit, but she found a niche that she loved, and she read one book after another. She read slower than, me, but never compare yourself to any other reader, right? You read whatever, how much you read. But she was a bit slower in the reading, but she loved it. And that's all that mattered at the end of the day. And then she herself even went, I was like, oh, I found this author and it sounds exactly like the other author that I like. And she started reading more and more and more. And I think that's what's important. And thankfully, in the book world, there's so much stuff out there for every type, for every flavor, there's a book out there, I guarantee you. And yeah, that's why this is fine. You love what you love. It doesn't matter. There shouldn't be any stigma around, oh, you read romance or whatever. Do what you want. So it doesn't matter.
unless you read 50 Shades of Grey, then I'm going to judge you a little bit.
I read 50 Shades of Grey. I read the whole trilogy and I read it on the subway, not knowing what it is about in full view of everybody. So they knew exactly what I was reading. And once I had hit the first scene like that, I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't read this in public. I ate it up. That was one of those. I mean, it's not a great book. Like, it's not like the big book and the best book of all time. It's popcorn entertainment. That's what it is. Terrible popcorn entertainment, but it's popcorn entertainment.
It was popular enough to be on the bestseller list and you know have a movie made out of it. So
I haven't watched the movie. That I find a bit cringy. So, but again,
Do you remember
each
Dakota
their own.
Johnson talking about the fact that she had to tell her parents that she was in the movie and she felt a little awkward?
Yeah, I would too. Yeah, I would too. No, it's I mean, again, it got people to read, right? Like that's the same with the romantasy stuff that we have right now. It gets people to read. It gets people excited about books and stories. And in a time where everything is digital and just consumption and being, with advertisements and everything and scrolling through shorts on whatever TikTok, I find it amazing that people sit down and read books and enjoy those stories and immerse themselves in whatever world it is that they want to immerse themselves in. This is my profound saying for this weekend.
Yeah, no, there's no problem with that. Well,
No, but I think it's amazing. And then, who cares?
I'm going to give you a weird book recommendation, and then I want you to give a book recommendation to anybody watching. This is going to be because it's a Robert McCammon book. And the reason I'm going
Okay.
to say it's a weird recommendation is almost everybody's going to tell you that Boy's Life or Swan Song are his best books of all time.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the Stepford Wives?
Then I have heard the name, but I couldn't tell you what it is about or what it
Okay.
is.
It's basically a book about or a story about the fact that a bunch of guys, they have these wives and they're kind of brainwashed into becoming the perfect wives, and they don't have any sort of, autonomy or stuff like that. They have to do what they're told, things like that.
Yeah.
McCammon gender flipped that. He did a book called Bethany's Sin, where the men, and it's all from the viewpoint of this one husband that they've just moved to Bethany Sin. That's the name of the town. And he starts noticing how things are. And it's a much, much more horror, much creepier version of the Stepford Wives. If you like that type of book, you'll enjoy it. If you don't like that type of book, I would, again, I would recommend Swan Song, but that is an investment of time.
Yeah,
A lot
kinda.
of people would probably recommend Boy's Life.
Yeah, but Bethany Sin sounds right up my alley, like weird stuff like that.
Yeah, there was a Stepford Wives movie. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, again, it rings somewhere, but yeah, as I said, I couldn't have told you, but that sounds fantastic. Like, that's the kind of weird stuff that I enjoy when it comes to the more is it considered horror? Is it, like, kind
It
of
is,
horror
especially
genre
because, like I said,
genre?
he gender flips it, but he also takes it a step further.
Okay,
It's definitely out there, but I enjoyed it. Or at least let me put it this way: 19 or 20-year old, or however old I was when I read that book, I enjoyed it.
awesome. Well, I'll definitely give that a try. Available on Kindle Unlimited. Nice.
Yeah, like I said, late 80s, early 90s. It was King and McCammon, and they were both putting books out like every year. It was ridiculous for a while.
Well, King still does that. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I guess McCammon still kind of does, but he took a break for a while and then he came back with the whole Speaks the Nightbird series, which some people love, but I kind of quit when he quit doing the horror stuff because Boy's Life is definitely not horror, and I don't think Gone South, I think, was the other one, and I don't remember if that one was horror, but I don't think it was.
Oh, Matthew Corbett. That's his big
Yeah, the Matthew
series,
Corbett
right?
series. But
Mhm.
I know John was reading that. I know there's a lot of people that do love it, but
Well, John is the one that got me interested in that one. Like, the way he described what it is about
yeah,
sounded also really interesting. So eventually I will read that as well. Oh yeah, that's the Speak the Nightbird thing. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I hope you don't hear my mouse in the background and me clicking around.
I
I
do not.
apologize. Yes. Awesome. Yeah, no, but that's the kind of recommendation, like, that's awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely put that on my never-ending list of books I wanna read eventually, but that sounds very cool. And it's not too long, 400 pages, so that should be, um
She was talking about you earlier, Mark. You missed it.
was I? already forgot.
You were talking about some book you'd recommended or something, I think.
Oh, yes, The Land of the Ill-Imagined. Land of the something ill-imagined. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, thank you. Listen, my sometimes I wonder, like, if my head wouldn't be attached to my shoulders, it would fly around somewhere in the house, but not with me.
My wife thinks I can find my head as long as it's not in the fridge because I can't find anything else in there. So
It's funny.
in my
Yeah,
defense,
I'm
it usually
excited.
moves things.
Yeah, Mark, I'm excited for that book. I haven't started it yet, but it's early October. I will get to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've told myself that I am not scheduling anything else for December because I'm going to have at least 1 month where I don't have to have books read. I will still read, but they'll be whatever I want.
Yeah. That is an interesting imbalance on BookTube though, right? The have to have read the book versus, "Oh, I just read it because I want it." That is something that took me a little bit to figure out as I started BookTube. Um, like kind of that balance of, "Oh, this is a new release I probably should talk about relatively soon."
Mhm.
Or read it and then talk about it relatively soon because you have algorithm, all that fun stuff. If it's a new book, more people will search for it, yada yada yada. Or you get arcs, you get stuff from the publisher, that kind of stuff. Versus, I still have a bunch of books here. Like at the beginning of the year, I was at the LA Book Festival, and it was like on the campus of I think UCLA in Los Angeles University. Um, like a bunch of authors, everything, like across the genre world. And I bought 50 books and I want to read those. So that was one of my big like things this year that I'm getting through this list. I've read, I believe, 3 of those books so far. So yeah, it's a weird balance.
Yeah, well, I should probably get more arcs read than I do because again, one of my other big videos was Fonda Lee and Shannon Lee's Breath of the Dragon, but I got the arc like 6 months early, still after Patrick Leo because he always gets everything first.
Oh yeah,
But it was like one of the first reviews out of it. But my problem with again the have to reads, and it's not that I don't love the books, but it's because I have all the author interviews,
yeah,
and I used to just have my first year and a half was just author interviews. Wanted to talk to so and so, I talked to so and so. But probably starting with maybe the Jim Butcher one, and it wasn't that I was trying to do it on purpose because even that I didn't get to read the arc. I think Jim Butcher, I put it around the fact that the Olympian affair was dropping. So
yeah.
we read that. We talked about that, and then after that, that's when I started getting into the. I love this author. They've got a book coming out in February. Let me see if I can get the arc, read it, have the interview beforehand. Yada yada yada.
Mhm.
I was kind of aiming for like 2 a month, and then sometimes I'd have 3 a month. The 1 month I had four, which basically means every week. And I worked a job and a part-time job sometimes, and so sometimes getting a book read in a week is not as easy as it sounds.
Yeah, yeah. That's where then the short books come in handy.
Yeah.
Yes,
That
agreed,
Paul
agreed.
Tremblay book I just finished, it was 35 pages. That was like, not that that was for an interview, but
That's perfect.
it was an Amazon exclusive that they offered me to read for free. And
I
I'm like,
like
I,
these.
I
I
can do
like these.
35 pages.
Yeah, I've read a couple of those, not all of them. They do them for, like, genres specific. They just put out one for romance. I know Ellie Hazelwood, I believe, has one in there. I like these because you get to know authors a little bit.
Another
It's
great
not a
place.
huge investment. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're not already doing it, it used to be called Tor.com, then they rebranded to Reactor.
Yeah.
They usually have a short story every week. I think every week they've got a short story available. And
Oh,
that's how I found some of my early stuff. Like I had Ian Rogers was one of my first year interviews, and I read a couple of short stories he had on Tor.com.
yeah. I have to look it up. Yeah, they used to send out free ebooks. Like, I got all the Mistborn era too. I got that for free from, I believe
Nice.
it was Tor.com. They're not doing that anymore, but for some time, every month you got a new free ebook. I didn't
Yeah.
download all of them
You know,
because
I do remember that there used to be, I think it was on Fridays or something. You had to sign up for it in a
yeah,
certain amount of time.
yeah,
Yeah, I remember those now. Yeah, it's been forever since I did one of those.
yeah, and then they did
Basically,
things
just
like
short
where it
stuff.
was 3 books in 1. Like, I remember I have one where I have a Martha Wells book and then, I don't know, 2 other books, something like that. Yeah, and Era 2, Mistborn Era 2, I got completely free from that, so that's nice.
Yeah,
You're
Martha's
finding
got a
your
new
ways.
book coming out next May.
Which one is coming out next May?
Martha Wells, the new Murderbot book's coming out.
Yes. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that one was also one of those. I read book 1, and it was okay. I mean, I didn't hate it or anything, but I didn't thought it was as funny as everybody made it sound like, so I never continued.
I'm a sucker for robots, AIs, and stuff like that.
Me
Androids.
too. I love AI, but somehow I didn't. I don't know. I didn't get. I want to try her other stuff though. Her cloud with winged harpies. I don't know, winged creatures. Cloud roads.
Yeah, I
I
know which
believe.
one you're talking about. Yeah, people tend to forget. I mean, she feels like an overnight success, but she wrote a lot of books before
She
Murder
really
Bot blew up.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of really cool stuff, like Witch Kings too. That is, I believe, not done yet. I think she's still writing that series, right?
Yeah, because I think
Right?
there was Witch King and Witch Queen. I think she did 2 of them. Wasn't already?
Yeah, but I just looked it up the other day and I was like, oh, it's not done yet. Okay, I'm not reading it yet.
Yeah,
Witch
I think I
King.
actually got
Yeah,
that book.
Witch King, Queen Demon, October 2025. I don't know. Is it supposed to be a
Yeah,
duology or a
I gotta
trilogy?
admit, had the arc and I still haven't read it.
But that sounds cool too. Like eventually that's yeah. But there's some authors like that where they have one very popular work, maybe two, and then they have a bunch of other really cool stuff that no one ever talks about. And I
Yep.
guess, that's George R. R. Martin, same thing. He has a lot of books that rarely anyone ever talks about. I shouldn't say no one, but Martha Wells wrote Star Wars books. I didn't know that. Wait, are you in LA? Kai, are you in LA? Are you in the Southern California area? If so, I'm in Simi
I think
Valley.
a lot of
Hello.
people have written Star Wars books though, because I had Lydia King on. She's a local author and she's a doctor and she's written a bunch of stuff, but she's also written some Star Wars books.
Yes. Ooh, City of Bones. What is this by Martha Wells? Updated and revised edition. Is that a series? What is this? That's the first time I'm seeing this. This cover looks really cool. City of Bones by Martha Wells, updated and revised edition. Before Martha Wells captured the hearts of millions with her motorboat series, there was Cut, Sagai, and Ellen, and a city risen out of death and decay. Ooh, that sounds good. See, my goodness, being a reader is horrible sometimes. You're like, scroll, look, this sounds amazing. Bye.
Yeah, no, I think I remember
crying.
Yeah, because that was City. The current version, I think, was a reprint. But yeah, when Witch King came out, that was the big thing about Witch King was the fact that she hadn't done fantasy in like a decade, and she was in fantasy before. I think she did fantasy before she ever even did sci-fi.
Interesting. It is. If you look at Martha Wells, is also one of those authors, as you said, right? She has been publishing for a long, long time, and there are a lot of, especially female authors, female fantasy authors out there that write in both sci-fi and fantasy, and have been doing that for a long time, but don't have kind of a huge following, or have maybe like Martha Wells, like this one series that everybody
Mhm.
loves, and then no one. Bujold is also one of those, right? She has the fantasy series that a lot of people have read, and then the sci-fi series, but she has so much else, like the Shards of Honor that I'm going to read in October. But she has so much else. Kate Elliott, she's one of those that writes fantasy and sci-fi and has so many great published works. Um, uh,
Lois McMaster Bujold.
yes, her. I'm like, I can't even think of the names, but there's so many people out there. I just have to look at what I did with Nico, because we have a list of, I don't know, 20 books, and we picked 13 of them to
You have to say, I think Lois's webpage is a little out of date.
oh, come on. Give authors some grace.
Oh, the last post I see here is 16 May of 2016.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, that is. I don't know if she has published anything recently, but could be that it's not. Yeah. Anyway, my goodness. See, now I'm sitting here. It's like, I don't want to read Mistborn right now. I want to read all the other books.
Oh, yeah, trust me, it gets ridiculous.
FOMO is real. Oh my goodness.
Every book I'm reading is a different book I'm not reading.
Gotcha. I see. Kai said, "Oh, she's in Maine now." Well, that's the complete opposite of where we are. Like totally different ends of the continent here. But you
Oh,
get
yeah,
Grazzo,
sorry, I
so.
hadn't seen that. I was looking at something else. I hadn't shared that with you yet.
No, all good. I mean, that's I can. There's this technology here that I can do this myself.
Well, not apparently if you listen to Fina. Murderbot sucks. Don't waste your time.
Hey, that's not what I said. They're short
Honestly,
though. That's the
if you
one
come
good
to
thing
it
about
late,
they're short.
like I read it when it first came out. If you come to it late, I feel like there's a bit of a hype to it
Mm. Oh,
that
a bit.
makes it hard to meet what everybody's talks it up.
Yeah. A bit of a hype to it. Yeah, especially now with the TV show. But
I know a lot of people that love the TV show. I liked the TV show, but I like the books better.
yeah,
Some
that's
people think,
generally
"Oh, it was
the
such a good adaptation." I was like, maybe." Of course, it also might be too long since I read the original book because that was the TV show is based on the first book, and that's been a while.
yeah. Yeah. No, try it. I mean, they're short. Y'all definitely get through it really, really
Yeah.
fast, and then you know
I
if you like
think
it or
there's
not.
only one, maybe two that were actually novels. Everything else was a novella.
Yeah, so when I read it, it was 6 books at that time, and the first 5 were relatively short, and then the 6th book was a chunker. Wait, what did he say? He has readers
Oh,
will never
sorry. So
Oh, yeah.
we as
Yeah,
readers
yeah.
will never stay on.
Yeah, yeah. No, you yeah, yeah.
All I could think was stay on target, stay on target.
Yep. Yep, yep.
Josh is just kidding. He's been here the whole time.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Anything for
Just
you,
started.
Josh. Anything for you, Josh.
Ah,
In a loop.
Well,
What's that
Josh, do
movie
you have
called?
any questions? Everybody else has been talking. This is your turn. Can we? No, no, we cannot. First of all, you're thinking we're going to remember anything we've talked about in the last
Oh,
hour and
no.
20 minutes. So,
No. I barely remember what I said 5 minutes ago, so.
he's
Uh,
a ninja.
oh, yeah. Well, he stays up till late in the night, right? Like his most productive time is between 8 PM and 11 PM. What did he say at one point? I
Oh, yeah,
forgot.
when the wife still has him out in the shed there, and he has to
Yeah.
crawl back to the house in the dark.
Hilarious. Josh, you should have never told us that.
Well, that's a good question. I think we kind of talked about it, but what are you doing this weekend?
Probably not reading Children of Time. I'm sorry. It's going to be October. So I actually took today off. I had PTO. Yay. To do a little bit of house cleaning. So I actually have a weekend and don't have to do, grown-up things, crap, keeping your house in check and, that kind of garbage. It depends on what my husband is doing. He is contemplating if he's going to an RCQ tomorrow, which only if you're in that world, you know what I'm talking about. We are both, he more so than I am, are playing Magic the Gathering here. Card game, strategic card game, collectible trading card game, whatever the official term for that is. And there is an RCQ is like a competitive event where you can actually.
Do you have a Black Lotus? Just kidding.
We don't. Well, he has it as like one of those pins, I think, but not as a card. No. So competitive event, and he's was contemplating if he is going to do that. If he is going to do that, I will have the house for myself. Which means then reading, watching crappy TV shows like Love Is Blind, or other, equally entertaining nonsense. And reading, and then some reading, and then probably getting some videos recorded because I need to record quite a bit. That's that kind of stuff. And then cooking. He made a brisket. He smoked a brisket the other day, and now he wants to make a brisket cheese dip smoked with it, and that is outstanding this weekend. So we'll see. Yum. I'm very food motivated. If I'm not book motivated, I'm very food motivated.
I was going to do it after this, but we've gone almost 2 hours, so I've still got to. I got to edit. Yeah, it's 7:47. It's like my time, and I was like, "Holy crap!" I thought I read 7:17. It's like, no, we've been going longer. I've got to edit the video for. I had Seamus Sullivan on, who just debuted with Daedalus is Dead. Recorded that earlier this week. I still need to get it posted, so I got to get that up real quick. I've got 2 more author clips to record tomorrow, and then the big thing is Sunday night's horror recommendations from horror authors.
Yeah.
Paul Jessup and I will also be doing a probably 2-hour live stream where you're going to see snips from people like Paul Tremblay and Grady Hendrix and Liz Hand all telling you what you should read for spooky season.
I'm excited about it.
It's fun. We did it last year, but we started way too late. They don't care. They're talking about fantasy football in the chat now anymore. So nobody, they're not paying attention. I don't know if it's
Oh,
fair. They're
gotcha.
talking about the Bucks.
I was about to say maybe he's still listening. I don't know. Say happy birthday to your wife, Josh. I think you said, or is it anniversary or birthday? I forgot. He's one of those.
Yeah. In between discussions about the tush push, tell her happy birthday for us. It'll be fun.
Or happy anniversary, depending on what it is.
Or
okay. Yeah, sure. Football. I actually enjoy watching football, but any birthday this Sunday. Got it. So happy birthday to your wife.
You might actually this Sunday you might actually have to stay in the house and not the shed and
yeah,
make her dinner or take her out or something.
Yeah, or read a book to her. If the reading can't wait.
I was like, that's like one of the best phrases ever. Take her out. I mean, that could mean you're killing her. That could mean you're taking her out for dinner. That could mean you're like tackling her. It's got a lot of options.
I vote for the eating one. Take her out for dinner, please. Oh man.
Some words are just more fun in different contexts.
They are.
Hammered's another one. If you're hammered, that means you could have gotten hit really hard or you're drunk.
Both doesn't sound really appealing to me.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Yeah, take her out to eat. Take her out to eat, please, Josh.
I'm just saying, English.
For the love of God!
In the first place is forget actual like colloquialisms. Then it gets crazy. So many options.
Oh man.
Oh, I thought about this earlier because again, I was talking about your channel, Fina Reads, not Fine Reads. But if you want to go all colloquial, you could go get your street cred and be like, finna read. I'm finna read that tomorrow.
Well, I always made fun about it because it's either I'm fine or I have to pay a fine, and I loved that kind of weird difference between the two on the name. But yeah, that might be me. Clearly, it's just me.
I don't even know where they've gone on this conversation at this point.
Oh, because he can't read on Sunday because we said he can't. He has to take care of his wife, so no reading.
Gotcha.
That's the solution to that problem.
Unlike I remember the rich kid when I was growing up who was watching the Super Bowl in church on his little Watchman TV. This is back before smartphones, so
yeah. Like little. Mm-hmm.
Like, okay.
I was alive before smartphones were a thing, so that I'm old enough for that. I had cassette tapes with a pencil that I. And whatnot. And I was one of those two that with the radio and the cassette, and when the song and the radio come, I pressed record. Like,
and then hope the DJ would shut up.
Things. Yes, exactly.
Oh man.
Oh, I'm old enough for that stuff, which is I don't know. I don't think I'm quite used to it yet, but I'm at that point.
That's like, my son who was born in 2000 likes to make fun of my daughter sometimes because she's born in 98. And so he, was like, you're older than Google.
But she doesn't know any of it. She doesn't remember a non-Google time. I don't even, honestly, it has been so long. I don't even know that kind of stuff. Because I learned reading a map. I know how to unfold and fold a map. I know how to read a map. But all of the things, like if I wanted to know something, how did I even do that back then? It's so weird.
You either had to get a book, go to library, look it up, something
I know. But sometimes it seems so far away, so foreign, right? Like,
I don't know. Trust me, I remembering just not knowing things.
And we were okay with that.
I think my mom called me one time. This is pre-Google. Called me one time like 2:00 in the morning or something because we'd been trying to remember the name of the doctor on Star Trek, and there was no internet to look it up on, and she finally remembered it, so she had to share that with me at 2 a.m.
Yeah, my dad still makes fun of me because I called him at one point while they were on vacation somewhere in Denmark or something. I was like, how do I cook potatoes? How am I supposed to know how to cook potatoes if no one teaches me? He still makes fun of that.
Josh, by the way, that's what kids are for. You still get to do that, at least for a little while.
I mean, to be fair, that still happens today on social media. People make shit up all the time and other
True.
people believe it. I mean, I don't think that has changed.
No. I quit spending time on Facebook because I was spending half my time telling my friends on either side of the political spectrum with whatever they shared, like, that's not true. 3 seconds of research would have told you that before you hit send.
Yeah.
Because they just, let's face it, you think that the internet would give us all this information and everybody would be on the same page, but what it really does is it gives you contact to other people that will confirm whatever bias you had in the first place.
That, and it becomes really hard, even if you want to. So I'm someone who actually researches things because I like the act of researching something to learn. You can't do that anymore. Like the last years in particular, because I'm not no expert in American politics, right? I grew up in Germany, so I even German politics I'm not fluent in at all. So I was trying to figure out, okay, what even, Republicans, Democrats, what do they stand for? What's the history of all of that? And all the nitty-gritty little details that everybody keeps bringing up in conversations. It is really hard. It is incredibly hard to figure that out, even if you want to. So take that for what you will.
Yep.
Wait, what?
I'm just having fun. That's me.
I couldn't tell. What is the Southern California accent?
I'm just joking about your
Just
accent.
mine. Josh.
Have you read like somebody had like a really, really thick accent? You just pretend they're from someplace else, like it's total Boston accent. You're like, you from Alabama? It confuses the heck out of them.
Oh, makes people angry too, especially
It does too.
Bostonians. Yeah. Mark had to print out MapQuest and follow the directions and hope you don't miss the exit. Oh my God, those were good times.
Oh, trust
Good
me,
times.
an early MapQuest was not always accurate.
Early Google was not. I remember navigation systems back then. My God, was it horrible. Yeah.
I printed off directions one time because I was working at a hospital and I had to go work on a computer. I was in IT, and it was I was in charge of all of the outlying satellite offices. And I had to go somewhere down in southern Nebraska. Never heard of the place. I didn't have time to, get myself a map. Rand McNally was not my friend for this little town. And I get there and I'm following the directions on MapQuest. And I'm just driving up and down by this river in this little side road. And I'm like, there's supposed to be a doctor's office out here. Finally, I call them. Luckily, it wasn't smartphone time, but it was cell phone time. I called them up and I'm like, hey, I'm down. I followed the MapQuest things. I'm down here off of such and such. He's like, we're in the middle of town. It's got me on the outskirts down by the river. I'm like, I don't know. I showed him the thing. It's like, yeah, that's not right.
Clearly.
I figured that out.
Good that we talked. Yeah, people talked back then, Get off the computer. I need to make a call. Oh, yes. I remember that. And then
I remember getting kicked off the computer.
Yeah,
Mom picked up the phone. And we're done.
Oh,
My first
times.
computer was a TI-99 4A. Didn't have a hard drive. Didn't have a disk drive. You plugged in cartridges like an old Atari game thing.
Oh,
word processor, that was a cartridge.
Yeah. No, that I had a computer relatively late. Mine was actually was it Windows 95 or 98? 95 was my first one. Don't ask me what computer. Back then I didn't remember those types of things, but that was relatively late. I was 15 at that point. I was only able to, we didn't have the money to buy computers. So I was only able to sit in front of a computer at my grandpa's. And then I was playing like Solitaire. I loved Solitaire and Minesweeper, although I never understood Minesweeper back then. But Solitaire was my favorite game. And he let me play around with whatever programs they had back then, Paint, that kind of stuff. I loved it. Or at my cousins, they had computers. But yeah, I didn't have one for the longest time. But once I had them, oh my goodness, all the games, all the stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It was fun. Good times. Although, I don't know.
People of a certain age can remember the sound of the dial tone when you were getting up on the internet.
Wow, I just made it.
Yep.
Yes. Oh my god! So I had my first gaming console was a Sega Master System 2. I don't know if it was the same in English, but it was a Sega thing. And I had Alex Kidd in Miracle World was the game on that, and that was the only game that I had. Again, we didn't have money, so I couldn't buy games for the console, so I only had that installed one. And I played it so many times, and only the beginning games, because as you said, you couldn't save it. There was no doesn't work. If you're dead, you're dead. You start at the beginning. Oh, it's so frustrating.
I think we had like this. Maybe it was the second generation Atari or whatever. It was our first gaming console, like the old 8-bit. You played basketball was just this little 8-bit character going over and over and over. My mom thought that was hilarious.
And today it's retro.
Yeah, it's retro. Yeah,
yeah. You can buy.
It was state of the art at the time. Our first game was Pong. You had the little twist controller. That was it. Up and down, like doing.
Yeah, awesome.
Oh man, life is crazy. Sometimes how far things have come.
Yeah, I remember LAN parties. Oh my goodness, that was fun. That is a bit newer than Pong, obviously. Yeah.
I was really good at Atari baseball, because after a while you'd realize that completely against the laws of physics, you could throw a pitch that wasn't even a curveball. It just went back and forth, and they'd miss it every time.
Yeah, nowadays you couldn't do that probably anymore with a computer games nowadays.
Yeah, some of them are really good physics these days. Other ones,
not so much.
Have you seen the ones where people do the videos? I think it's Grand Theft Auto. Don't quote me on that. But they'll put a speed bump and then they'll drive over it at different speeds. And so, like at 300 miles, the car goes.
Well, that's what happens. That's exactly what happens. That's how you get into space. Didn't you know that?
No matter what you're driving. I always love the one where like this little percentage thing after is like chance of survival, and you'll see it go flying over is like 70, and then it'll fall on its top is like 23. We're just guessing.
Yeah, well, See, that's why I played fantasy games. I was more the World of Warcraft person, Warcraft/World of Warcraft person. Physics don't matter in a fantasy world.
True.
Yeah.
Apparently, I'm not leaving that up long enough for Fina to reach just to keep looking for it.
No, you're like but that's fine. Again, I have the technology to look somewhere else. It looks funky, but it's fine. Yeah. The games I'm playing right now, I like about 1.5 or 2 years ago, I got myself a Harry Potter wand, and I got the thing that you connect to the PlayStation, and you just do the wavy motions of whatever, Alohomora. Like, that's my game. So you have to move it in a certain way, like it has a sensor in the front where it sees it from the PlayStation, I believe, at least, and then you have to follow those motions, and once you did it a couple of times, you get the next spell that you then can learn, and then you can connect it to your Philips like smart lights and whatnot, and then you can do these motions and turn on the light on and off. Like, that's the type of gaming I'm doing nowadays,
which sounds dorky but also kind of cool, let's face it.
It is very cool. Yes, it is very dorky and very cool.
What's the Harry Potter thing for turning on lights or whatever?
Alohomora, I believe. No, that's opening doors. Luminos. Lumos.
iPhone, I don't know if they still do it, but you used to be able to say that to your iPhone and it would turn the flashlight on.
Okay, I have to Google that later.
They had a little fun with it. But I got hooked for a while on Rocket League, which I always thought was stupid when I was watching other people play it on, like, people would watch YouTube videos or Twitch videos of people playing it. I'm like, soccer with a car? That looks stupid. But then I got playing and I was like, it's actually kind of fun.
Yeah, same. I mean, I watched, like, because you can play Magic the Gathering online in an online format, and that's what a lot of people stream. That's what we are watching. So I would have not 10 years ago, if you would have told me I watch people play video games, I would have here.
My only problem with like games like Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff, the fact that you can play them online, is it takes for freaking forever because every place that somebody could do something, it pauses and wait for the other person to say whether or not they're going to do it instead of just playing back and forth. So
Well,
I feel like they take forever to play the games online.
in Arena, so for I don't know about how it is for Yu-Gi-Oh! Or whatever, because I don't play that part. But for Magic, there are timers. So when you play games, yes, there's time to think, but it will time you out eventually and then jump over to the next phase. So you don't have exactly that situation that
Right.
you sit there for
I'm
3
just
hours.
saying some of those timers give you more time than the average person I play
Fair.
against because I'm not playing at any sort of world pro level or anything, and it's just like I'm just like waiting. There's like, okay, now I can go.
Yeah. Well, that's why you then play in a store, right? Like with
Yeah,
real people and
it
whatnot.
does help you not forget some of the rules though. That's
Yes, very true. Even though sometimes it does funky things online, but yeah, generally.
there are so many rules now that are keywords. It's like
Yeah.
I don't remember what that is.
Oh, same, same. Yeah, yeah. Especially since I've played it like 30 years ago, there are keywords that don't exist anymore. But in certain formats, you still play those old things. It's like, what was this again? What does this do again exactly? How does this work now with this
Right.
new thing here in correlation? Oh, yeah. It
I
is.
mean, some of them are easy. First strike, flying,
Oh,
those
yeah.
I can get away with keywords.
Yeah.
But when they kept adding more and more stuff, and now you've got like 40 different abilities that they always did a nice job of when they introduced a new one, you'd have the full description of it. But then, a couple of things in, and they just shorten it again. It's
Well,
like,
because the whole other stuff is now much longer. Like there's a book on every card now. That's why
yeah.
they only can write the word because it's 20 words on it. What are they talking about now? What zombies?
See, Call of Duty, Zombies, World of Warcraft. I used to stream on Twitch too. That was a couple years ago.
Awesome.
Catching about all the games they're talking about.
All right. Yeah, as I said, game-wise, computer game-wise, it was mostly I started Warcraft 2. I loved that one.
Lawn parties.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Our lawn parties. Lawn parties like in grass with beer and barbecue?
Yeah, I'm wondering if she means LAN parties.
Yeah, that's what or do you mean
took over.
computer parties where you play games where everybody brings their computer and you
Oh
play
yeah.
games? Although, the grown-up version is probably lawn as in grass with barbecue and beer and camping chairs. I could see that. I could totally see that.
I figured we just go old school. Everybody bring a pack of beer and see if somebody can still find a thing of jarts somewhere.
What?
Alcohol and giant darts. What could go wrong?
Nothing.
Are you old enough to remember jarts?
No.
So it was a lawn game where you'd like put down a ring and you'd throw darts and they have to land in them, but the darts were like this freaking big.
Yeah, what can go wrong?
Yeah.
You grew up in the Midwest?
Yeah, just those. I think there was a lawsuit, and those are pretty much gone.
It's probably for the better. I need to ask my husband. He grew up in Iowa, so he
No, yeah, that was right next to cow tipping on the Friday night list of things to do.
Yeah, and loudspeakers in your car with way over bass.
Because in horseshoes you can only get a concussion. I mean, in jarts, I mean, if you can get it to stick in your opponent, I think that was like worth extra points. The old Jeff Foxworthy joke about jarts is the fact, if somebody lose that to get stuck in the head, they were getting coloring books for Christmas for the rest of their life.
Yeah. Yeah. Horseshoes or cornhole then, rather.
Yeah, cornhole, that's not a good title for anything. I know what it is, but I don't like the name. Cow tipping after I moved here, yeah.
Oh yeah, in Maine it would work too. Agreed. Maine is one of those states that I still have to go to. Very high on my.
Is that where Stephen King's from?
Yes. Yeah,
I
know Kristen Britton my favorite author lives in Maine. She was a park ranger up there. So
Kai saying to come on over, and Josh has apparently played a few games of drunken cornhole. So,
oh man,
Sounds horrible when you say it out loud, doesn't it?
You might want to overthink that, Josh. I wanted to say John. Wrong name. I'm talking too much.
We have.
Oh my
Excuse me,
goodness.
we have lost track of the conversation.
Yeah. Maine is big on the bucket list. So that's one of the things. Generally, there are a lot of states that I still have to go to, but we have a little camper, like one of those Sprinter camper vans. And we started out with just weekends and all around California. And now we're planning our first longer trip up to Iowa to visit his parents, my husband's parents. So that goes, we don't know quite yet where we go, but probably somewhere Utah and then over to Iowa somewhere. We'll see. And eventually, at one point, one of the big travel things that I want to do is all the East Coast up to Maine. So Florida and then all the way up to Maine. Like that is one of my camper on my bucket list.
Well, if you're going up to Utah and then over to Iowa, you should let me know when you're coming through.
Oh, would I pass by you? Yeah, that's one of the things that I definitely, once I have the map where I want to reach out to a couple of people, because I know Nico lives in Des Moines, and we definitely will go through Des Moines, and then maybe there are others. So I'll
I live
hit
in
you up.
Omaha, so if you're taking I-80 across the state to get into Iowa.
Yeah, I need to ask my husband. He said there's one I that goes for a long time just straight into Iowa, ends in Des Moines, and then we go a little bit north.
Yeah, you can pretty much take I-80 all the way from. I used to just hop on I-80. That'll take you all the way from Omaha to Denver, Colorado.
That might be the one. I'll let you know. That would be fun. Yeah. Then we could do a joint YouTube thing, like hello,
or at least take you out for lunch or something, whatever.
Yeah, sure. Just thinking about work here.
Josh's side of the world.
The East Coast? Where is your side of the world? The East Coast or Midwest?
Oh, dang it. I think he told me once and I'm blanking on it.
PA, Pennsylvania. That would be on the other side of Iowa, right?
Yeah. That Pennsylvania's a little bit farther.
Yeah, I don't think we will go that far on this trip. Oh, East Coast. Gotcha. But yeah, on the East Coast trip, then
you're on the east of the Missouri, so that's
he's in Georgia. Gotcha.
Yeah, with this last trip, I have finally visited every state in the union.
Nice. Like continental or including Alaska and Hawaii?
I've been to Alaska and Hawaii too, but North Dakota was the last one I hadn't been to yet, and we went up and went through Bismarck, and then we did Teddy Roosevelt National Park, came back down to the Wind Caves, and then went through the Badlands. So.
Oh, very cool. Was it also like camping trip or just a road trip?
No, it was a road trip. We stayed at although it might as well have been camping. We stayed at a B&B just outside the Badlands in a town that had 92 people in it.
Fair.
96 while we were there. We stopped someplace that they said had breakfast, and the lady just kind of looked at us because it was also a gas station.
Okay.
And it was online saying that they serve food. It was supposed to be like one of the best places to eat in town. Again, remember, there's 92 people here.
So the only place where you can eat. Okay, got it.
And she looked at me like, well, I can warm up some biscuits and gravy for you. That's all we have. And my wife she's not I would have been fine. My wife is not a biscuits and gravy fan. And she's like, well, we'll find something else.
It really, same. So my husband, again, right, Midwest. So he does all this biscuit and gravy, brisket smoked, and all the smoker stuff and barbecue stuff, and delicious. Like he does some good stuff, and I love his biscuit and gravy. I usually don't love restaurant biscuit and gravy, but what he makes, yum.
It depends. I found that biscuits and gravy means very different things to very different places.
Yes,
it's not like getting a scrambled egg, which you pretty much get the same thing everywhere.
And even there, it's already seems to be difficult in some places. But yeah, agree. Like just the biscuit part in itself, because I don't like these English muffin type things, which most of the places serve.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just the biscuit itself is already vastly different depending on where you go.
True.
Yeah.
If you stay south of I-80, you're probably getting an actual biscuit. If you're north of I-80, you could be getting anything.
The fun thing is, a biscuit for me is a cookie. So this whole concept is kind of weird.
Because you're from Europe. There's
Or
a
English
lot.
muffin. Like
There's a lot
sometimes
of words.
what someone serves as a biscuit is like, this is an English muffin for Ma.
It's like, yeah, you don't ask for a napkin in London. It's not what you think it is if you're from America.
Yeah. 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 Ah, see, Mark and Josh are meeting up now. There you go.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't sharing all those. They're having their own conversation, which is completely fine. I have
Oh,
no problem with that.
absolutely. Yeah. Okay, Mark, which meal? Biscuit and gravy?
I'm assuming that's the one he's talking about. That's the one we were talking about when he posted it.
Now I'm
All right.
hungry.
I'm having a blast. I'm asking, is it getting too late for you? We've been talking for 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Oh, I have nothing else to do, but I'm definitely getting hungry slowly. It's 6 p.m. Usually I'd eat at 4.
True. Well, I ate right before we started. In fact, I still have a little bit of soup left in my bowl, so I'll probably have to heat that up. It's probably
just
not as good anymore.
might be a bit cold
It
and
was steak and potatoes though, so it just take a heat up. It doesn't go bad.
yum. Yeah, and we need to figure out what we're going to. That's always food is. Oh God, what are we going to eat? We'll figure it out. Anyway.
What's that one I saw going around? It's like the thing they don't tell you about being an adult is you have to figure out what to eat
Every freaking day,
every
3
day for
times.
the rest of your life.
Oh, that is a chore. My goodness. Yeah, that is like, yeah, 100%. If someone would have told me that it's going to be that difficult, oh my goodness.
When you're a kid, you don't think about it. You just make whatever you want or whatever mom served.
Yeah, and then you complain
And
about
let's
it or
face
not,
it,
depending
99% of the time, it's whatever mom served.
yeah.
My
Yeah,
wife
and then I
was
had
a
it
nurse,
the
so I
thing
did
is
a lot more of the cooking.
yeah, and then I moved out when I was 16, so I've been living alone since I was between 16 and then 30 when I married my husband. So in that time, well, not quite till 30, but like mid-20s, I ate also whatever I wanted because at that point health didn't make a difference and you were able to eat whatever you wanted, you know? So that didn't matter either, but yeah, since I'm married, that is a whole different conversation.
Oh,
Like the weird things about yeah,
trust
that
me,
your parents
especially
told
as a
you and
guy, I do miss my young metabolism.
oh, yeah, same as a woman too, and I apologize, I don't know what my camera is doing right now.
You
Oh,
moved your
well.
hand in front of it. Like I realized on my video earlier, at some point
Ah,
I moved my hand, and then when the video did the
ah,
thing, it's like there's one part of my video where like
yeah.
it's because I put my hand in front of the camera. So
Yeah, this camera is not great either. I need to replace it at one point. It does its job, but somehow I feel like I'm always, like, kind of washed out in
yeah,
my
I
life
just I just
again.
remember 18-year-old Edward would go to Peter Piper Pizza and get a medium pizza for myself, the whole thing,
Mm,
and a pitcher of Coke. Didn't even
mhm.
get a cup. That was mine. That's what I had. Couldn't put on weight. These days I have like 2 slices of pizza, a 12-ounce Coke. I'm stuffed and I gained 3 pounds. It's not
Mhm.
fair.
Yeah,
It's just wrong.
yeah. I'm with you on that one. I think that's a general over 40 problem. Well, no,
Yeah.
it actually started in my 30s already. Over 30 problem.
The fact that I played basketball 3 hours a day when I was a teenager should have nothing to do with it. So,
No, I didn't do any sport. Like I'm the most unsporty person ever, and my metabolism was fine. I could eat whatever I wanted, and I didn't gain weight till my like mid-20s, and then everything went downhill.
I
After
wasn't
that.
sporty when I was young, but in high school I fell in love with basketball and I was just playing it all the time.
That's awesome. Yeah, I never found that sport. Now I'm doing indoor walking in front of YouTube.
I thought about getting one of those little treadmill thingies.
No, it's not even treadmill. It's just like weird walking exercises where you
Oh,
do like move your feet around like
gotcha.
you stand while you're walking. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
Gotcha.
you
So
know,
the walking in place type thing.
yeah. You
You're
know,
moving the
just to
motion, you're just not getting anywhere.
right, exactly, and then move my arms around with it, and lift the legs and do weird twisty things, and it's like, yay, I'm healthy.
Time to
Uh,
exercise. I'm done.
yes, yeah, yeah. I cleaned the house. That's enough exercise. Come on.
Fair. When I want to lose weight, I just go on vacation with my wife. Every 20,000 step day I've ever had was on vacation when I'm supposed to be relaxing.
Although walking around in nice places is very relaxing, I have to say.
Yeah, but my wife likes national parks,
Mhm.
so there's much outdoors, much movement.
Yeah. I love that.
I was
That
teasing
I'm
her one
okay with.
time. We went to Alaska, and she wanted to go up, and we climbed up this mountain. And don't get me wrong, I'm obviously in the shape I am. There was no rappelling lines. There was no, it's not that type of mountain climbing. But we get up towards the top of this mountain, and I'm looking down, and I'm looking, and like, you do realize I can see the tops of the clouds. When we started, I was below the clouds.
Eh.
This is what helicopters are for. That's all I'm saying.
Ah. Yeah, Mark has his gym at work, from what I just saw. So that's, yeah, I sit all day in front of my computer. That does
Yeah,
not.
I've actually got a little indoor home gym. That's like I said, this way you only see this wall because I've got the rest of this office taken up. I've got a little small home gym, got a punching bag for when I want to smack something.
Yeah, I should get one of those probably. Yeah, I have one of those pedal thingies under the desk. So because I sit all day,
Mm,
which is not helpful. So I get up every 1 or 2 hours to, walk in a circle and then sit back down. But then if I have extra long meetings, which unfortunately happens way too often, I sit there pedaling. I was like, at least I'm moving a little bit. Okay.
You have to say, when I worked at Books a Million, the bookstore before I worked at the Bookworm in Omaha, before I got my IT job again, I was getting like 10,000 steps a day.
Yeah.
Mainly because unlike Barnes and Noble, Books a Million would usually have like two people working, so I'd have to walk the entire store because the other person was in the cafe, so
Yeah.
they were just doing coffee. I was doing everything else. But yeah, since the IT job, yeah, I don't get this much steps anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I started out in retail too. Like I sold Apple computers way back then. I mean, I worked in bookstores like part-time while I was studying, that kind of stuff. Due to my mom working in
Mhm.
bookstores, I had the connections and whatnot, and obviously knew all the stuff. But yeah, then real job was retail for a lot of time. But yeah, when the moment I switched over to marketing, sales marketing, it's just sitting.
Yep.
It's- yeah, it is what it is. But making the best out of it, pedal underneath the desk as an example. Yeah, all
Well,
good.
those
All
curls,
good.
it'll be fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Like, you figure your things out. Like, as I said, I'm not a sporty person. I never will be. But as long as I'm healthy, I'm fine with it. We do our walks with the dog in the morning. That's half an hour every morning. And then after work, there's a little bit jumping around in front of the TV, and then there's some pedaling. Like, you figure it out. But yeah, being an adult is weird. I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah.
I can still make it from the basement to the first floor without having to pause for a break. So I
That's
think,
awesome. That's all that
yeah.
matters. Yeah, when you reach that age where you're like, this is all that matters.
Although I can tell you, there's been a
Oh,
couple times where I've done like a YouTube shorts announcing something. I'll do it while I go on a walk, and I
yeah.
realize I listen to it later. It's like I started out sounding okay. I got about a minute into that video, and I sound a little bit out of breath.
Let's do this again. Sitting.
Yeah, I don't do running anymore. That's for sure. Of
Yeah. No.
course, I also
I'm
tore my
I
ACL,
believe
so that didn't help.
My belief is that people that say they love running are lying. I tried it, and not that I was terrible. I was not great, but I was not terrible either. But I did not enjoy it at all. Like, I don't know no, I do not believe people that say running is enjoyable and I love going for a run for 20 miles every day. Liars, all liars.
Well, you do know there are people that are into pain, so maybe they're just masochists.
Fair. That could be it. That would explain it. Yes.
I used to always tell people that I've decided that we get a finite amount of energy and we use like half of it up by the time we're 9, and we just spend the rest of our life rationing it out. So
Yeah.
the closer you get to the end, the more you're like, nope, not enough energy for that today.
Yeah. And as us readers, the chunkers that we read, that is a lot of energy holding those up for an extended amount of time.
Look at these two liars in the chat.
Yeah. You no.
Uh,
Mm-mm.
they talk, so it moved. But yeah, I love running. Josh is feeling a little bit judged right now.
Well, no wonder if you're lying to us.
That's all I can say. King knows how to instill fear. Think of his movies: The Long Walk, The Green Mile, The Running Man. Dude,
Yeah, none of those do well. None of those.
so much horror. I'm with
Oh.
Kai on this one.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. As I said, my sport is holding big books up. I mean, look at this chunker here. Wow, that is 1,000 pages. Like I need to. This is my sport.
Hey, if they make full contact fettuccine Alfredo, I'm all in.
What?
I just make up random stuff and see what sticks. That's my idea of a sport. Something to do with pasta. We'll be fine.
Oh, as long as you can eat it.
Oh, man. I wonder if my wife's home yet. She got
Are you
called
getting
back.
hungry? Are you saying that you're waiting for your wife to cook? No.
No. Like I said, I was going to cook, and then she got called in right before, and then so I'm just said make soup instead.
Fair. Soup is always a good solution for things. I think my camera is giving up completely now. I don't know what's going on. You don't want to know, Joss. Please don't ask that. Don't know.
It's like Calvin Ball. You just make up the rules as you go. Do you have I assume you have a window in that room?
Yes, it's right in front of me, but it's getting dark now.
Yeah, I think it's just getting dark, and kind of like this here. When I had different lighting on, when I first got these, there you go. When I first got these lights on here and I turned them on the first time because I had it adjusted for how dark this room was, all of a sudden I was just like whited out and I had to change all my camera stuff again.
Yeah, that's my recording light now. There you go. I can turn this off, this useless thing here. See this difference here. This is a professional light, what you're supposed to do.
Sausage. What do you put sausage in fettuccine Alfredo? It's supposed to be chicken or shrimp.
I mean, meat is meat. Who cares?
I'm not a huge sausage fan. Bacon, I do love bacon. But sausage is depends on how it's cooked. A good sausage link is good. I don't usually like the sausage patties.
No, not patties, but breakfast sausage is delicious with some scrambled egg, mini pancakes. Oh God,
apparently Josh is in, so he'll take some of those.
Go run a little bit.
Well, don't cook the chicken dry. Although shrimp allergy, you can't do anything about that.
Yeah, that would not work. Please don't do that. Ugh.
Yes, it was breakfast sausage. I went to click off and she talked again, so I clicked on the new one. That's okay. We shared it anyhow.
All good.
You gotta be quick with chat.
Yep. You need to be on top of it, especially if you're the only one seeing it.
True. Well, like I said. And Josh, I already told her, because I usually do interviews on here, I have it turned off so she can't see the chat unless I click on it, because when you're interviewing something, you never know who's just going to show up in chat and say something stupid or rude. So
there are rude people out there.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
All right. Well, I think we've left BookTube topics a long time ago.
You think?
A little bit. So
that's
unless
okay.
somebody else has a question they want to ask beforehand, I'm probably going to wrap it up. We have been talking for 2 hours, 26 minutes, and 21 seconds. That's how long we've been live.
Oh my goodness. It never feels like that. That's what I find fascinating about live shows like this. It never feels like 2.5 hours.
See, like here comes they didn't say anything rude, but here comes the bot, which I'm not going to share on screen. You won't see that because it came through on the Twitch stream. So
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to give them, I don't post those up there. I'm not going to give them any it's always somebody just trying to get you like, hey, come buy our followers. Like, no, I'm good.
How about no? It was.
Well, we've appreciated having you in the chat. It's always fun to have somebody else to talk to. That's for sure.
Yeah, and please keep us in mind when you're ready for your book.
Yep.
Books.
If nothing else, I know I've seen you, I think, in Discord one of the Discords. Can't remember which because I follow a few of them. But yeah, definitely let us know when your book's actually coming out. And if you get bored and really, really want an interview, you know, reach out to at least one of us. All right. Yeah. See, I knew I knew you from Discord somewhere. I just couldn't remember which one it was in. It's like I know that name because I've asked you about how you pronounce it before. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Sounds
I think
good.
Josh is tapping out too for the
He
whole
needs to
like
go
30
running.
minutes he watched of it. So
Yeah.
I'm kidding, Josh. Life happens. Life happens. I get it. Mark too, was nice seeing you in here. I don't know if he's already bowed out, but yeah, it's doesn't look like any of them bowed out. I can still see the same number in the top corner there. So, but we do appreciate you. I do appreciate Fina jumping on here. Had a blast. Always love. I love doing these two not only to pick the minds of other booktubers, but also to have the occasional chat where I don't have to read a book. So, there was no homework before this. I already watched your channel, so I had nothing else I needed to do. So.
Perfect. Dang it. I wanted to make a dumb joke of like, oh, I just sent you my arc. I hope you read it, but I totally forgot about it. Oh,
Well, I had John Minton on here, and then they wrote a book. But luckily, that was after, and I was going to have Chance on here when he was a booktuber, and then his book came out, so I had to read it. So
yeah.
that's my running joke, and I think he hasn't been on yet. But Triple B's in the middle of writing, I guess, right now. He's trying to write a book.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Then you better get him on before he publishes it, so you don't have to.
Yeah, I feel like there's only a couple of those booktubers still around that are just booktubers.
I think we said it before. We really have to like with not all of them, but a lot of booktubers writing, even if it's short stories or whatnot. We should do a booktuber anthology. Throw it on Kickstarter. Pays for itself.
I can throw in a poem. That's about all I got.
Well, a little bit at a time. That's all okay.
All right. Appreciate everybody. We're going to call it a night, and we will catch you later.
Thanks, everyone.